be seated. Good morning, everyone. Let me first acknowledge the presence. I presume there should be an acting premier in the House today, Honorable Mvoko. Oh, is it Honorable Gade? Honorable Gade, you are sitting and smiling at me. To the acting premier, to the MECs and the honorable members that is in the House, to the, I see there's the subs is in the House, to all the different HODs and the delegation from the South African Police Service that's in the House, all the guests that is in the House today, to the media that has joined us, you are most welcome to this. Yesterday we had a few good laughs. I hope that you are ready for today. It's always an exciting time to be in the House when we are debating and tabling. Less tension, Chief Whip, in the House when we are dealing with these issues. Thank you, Honorable Gade. Now you are sitting at the correct place so that I can acknowledge you. Honorable members, we have gone through quite a number of tabling of policy speeches yesterday. Today marks the last day of our plenaries for this week, and I want to take this opportunity to thank all the MECs and the members for their cooperation during the past 2 days. We will now proceed with the business of the day. To note again, once again, that the members of the EFF that is in the House that I'm noting, that they are not dressed in accordance with our policy, and that issue I will then refer to again to the Ethics Committee, where they will actually deal with this matter. We will then go over to the first business that has got to do with notices of motions. I have got 8 that I have received. Let me just run through them. I think this is a record that must be recorded. Honorable Anil Kumar, Honorable Vimbayo, Honorable Tebekane, Honorable Konza, Honorable King, there's 2 from Honorable King, I hope it is correct. Is it so? Thank you. Honorable Chocho and Honorable Bodoza. Have I got that right? Not left anyone out. Okay. The Advocate Beja is telling me that that is the list. We will then proceed with Honorable Anil Kumar with your first motion. I must still get to understand where members are sitting. Yes, you may proceed, Honorable Anil Kumar.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Acting Premier, Honorable Members. Let me greet you on behalf of the popular choice of this province, African National Congress. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move in with notice in terms of Rule 131 of the Standing Rules of the Procedure. Honorable Speaker, this House acknowledges that undoubtedly many studies are suggesting that by 2030, the deployment of digital technology in South Africa might generate at least 1.2 million jobs. I repeat, 1.2 million jobs. To close the gap between the existing situation and the skills of the future graduates will require the national as well as the provincial governments have been implementing programs that guarantee the early introduction of technology in schools. Honorable Speaker, the National Development Plan calls for universal internet access by 2030. Yet, despite improvements in internet connection, South Africa still struggles to provide high-speed bandwidth as well as at an affordable price. Our province is not different from other provinces. Many of our schools still do not have internet connectivity that is needed to give learners the type of high-quality education that leads to benefit their life skills, their employment, their high level of life and social access. From the prior media briefings of the Eastern Cape Department of Education in 2021, they predicted that 1,000 rural schools to broadband internet will be finished by June 2021. Honorable Speaker, regretfully, during the whole school visitation in January this year, we learned that even though the institutions Some of them are finished. A significant number of schools finished the connectivity. Unfortunately, concerningly, even if SETA has finished installing in a specific school, the school won't receive the connection until the SETA has finished installing in all the targeted schools in that area or the district. Even though close to 12.8 million South Africans lack internet access and mobile data costs are still unreasonably expensive, we cannot and we shouldn't prevent our students in going to the schools without technology. Lastly, we further note that SGBs of public schools are considered to be organs of state under Section 239 of the Constitution. And we know that the National Association of School Governing Bodies' ongoing call for a prompt resolution of the connectivity issues in school requires immediate attention. Therefore, the House to resolve, Department of Education must provide the House with an update on the implementation of the broadband project in the 1,000 schools where it is intended to be implemented with immediate effect. Number two, the Department of Education should initiate an urgent session with OTP, Office of the Premier, and SETA to fast-track the implementation of the broadband project in other schools. Engaging SETA to revisit their modalities of providing internet connections to schools where installations are completed. Department of Education to support the school governing bodies to create an enabling environment for the use of digital technologies in school. Finally, House further resolves the Office of the Premier as a coordinating department needs to strengthen its campaign to force network operators to zero rate of all access to education materials. We knew that some of them are doing it, but it needs more. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. We note your motion without notice, and it will be debated at a later stage in accordance with Rule 133, subsection 1. We now move to Honorable Vimbayo.
The acting Premier, members of the Provincial Legislature, HODs, guests in the House, and the members of the public that are watching us on social media. Honorable Speaker, the motion is on the alarming rate of teenage pregnancy in the Eastern Cape. Honorable Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 130 that the House notes with deep concern the alarming rate of teenage pregnancy in the Eastern Cape, particularly in OR Tambo District Municipality, which has reported 1,269 pregnancies for the second consecutive year, as well as high statistics from Alfred Nzo District Municipality, which is 681, Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality, 506, and Chris Hani District Municipality, 489. Recognizing that the age of consent in South Africa is 16 and following the 2021 directive by the Department of Basic Education, compelling schools to report the pregnancies of underage girls to the police. Acknowledging the significant changes made to the Employment of Educators Act to ensure that teachers found having sexual relationships with or sexual abusing a pupil are banned from teaching for life. Aware of the key factors contributing to the teenage pregnancies, as identified by many research institutions, including the research unit of the Eastern Cape ANC caucus, include lack of parental supervision, diminished moral responsibility, and insufficient long-term contraceptives, among others. Recognizing the serious implications of teenage pregnancies, including school dropouts, lack of maturity to raise children, and inadequate resources for young parents. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I move that this House, one, intensify and expand public awareness campaigns on the availability and importance of long-term contraceptives, ensure strict enforcement of laws and regulations regarding sexual abuse relationships between teachers, older men, and pupils, strengthen community and parental engagement initiatives to enhance supervision and moral responsibility, establish more youth zones and other conducive environments where young people can freely access healthcare services and education on sexual and reproductive health. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable members, we put the motion without notice. Thank you. We will now move over to Honorable Tebekana.
Greetings, Honorable Speaker, members of the House, Acting Premier, as well as the guest of this House. Allow me to present to you the motion of enhancing gender mainstreaming. Honorable Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 130 that the House observe that gender disparities have been with us for past decades, if not centuries. Honorable Speaker, acknowledging that the government in fostering democracy has put gender mainstreaming as one of our major focuses area, note that despite progressive policies and legislative framework in the past 30 years, gender disparities still persist in our societies. Honorable Speaker, that it also be noted that some traditional cultures and culture practices continue to be in the Achilles heels in our request to achieve an equal and a non-sexist South Africa. That we acknowledge that the democratic government has, over the past years, made visible strides in affirming women in position of authority and in influence. Furthermore, Honorable Speaker, that it be acknowledged that there are sectors of society that continue to harbor gender stereotypes and thus by and large remain untransformed. That we recognize potential that women pose in bringing about flourishing families, communities, and nations. Therefore, I move that the House encourage all encourage all righteous and upright citizens to take this struggle for women emancipation forward without hesitation and reluctancy. Honorable Speaker, I appeal to the traditional leaders of this province and the country at large to play the role in advancing gender mainstreaming. I would also want to advise on the 7th term administration Executive Council to be unforgiving in determining the achievement of gender equality. Honorable Speaker, I so move. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable members, I put the motion without notice. Thank you. I now move to Honorable Konza.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Good morning to you, to the Acting Premier, to the Chair of Chairs, Chief Whip of the House, honorable members, the Executive, House of Traditional Leaders, and the guests, those that are in and those that might be watching us through social media, other platforms. Honorable Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 130 that this House observes that municipalities are at the receiving and attracting seasoned experts in highly sought after skills such as financial management, engineering, and the likes. Acknowledge that municipalities have gone a long way in recruiting capable chief financial officers in charge of financial management at local level, though much ground still needs to be covered. that the viability of municipalities squarely depends on the proper management of meager and limited municipal financial resources. Also note that the financial woes of municipalities are compounded by the limited revenue base, indigent households, and refusal by non-qualifying households to pay for the services that are rendered. Acknowledge that the lack of financial management skills and lack of capacity to collect municipal revenue is directly affecting local government financial viability. Further acknowledge that the lack of appropriate utilization of municipal infrastructure grant and the lack of adherence to ESCOM and water boards contractual agreements by municipalities has not helped the cause at all. Recognize that the national and provincial government are also culprits in exacerbating and compounding municipal financial misfortunes through the delayed or non-payment of their municipal debts. Therefore, I move that this House encourages all responsible citizens to do their civic duty of paying for services rendered so that municipal financial muscles can be strengthened. Appeal to government to consider and review local government funding, the funding model, in order to ensure greater funding for it. Explore municipalities to develop their internal capacities so as to curtail financial drain through consultants and service providers. I so move, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Members, I put the motion without notice. I now call upon Honourable King.
Good morning, Speaker and colleagues in the House at large. Speaker, I'm going to start with a motion without notice first. I hereby move in terms of Rule 130 of the standing rules that this House, noting 35.7% unemployment among women is higher than the national unemployment rate, signifying equality in the job market still eludes women in South Africa. The Eastern Cape is continuously faced with persistent high levels of unemployment, with joblessness and poverty carried by women and the youth. The stark reality of severe poverty and hunger was again brought to light when Bongenko Buso took her own life and death of 3 children when faced with starvation because of increased food prices, making it impossible to afford basic foods. That unemployment and poverty persist amongst young women in the Eastern Cape due to forced early child marriages, teenage pregnancy, and restrictive social and traditional norms and laws, preventing many from completing secondary education. The Gender Snapshot 2030 highlighted that more than 340 million women and girls, an estimated 8% of the female population, will live in extreme poverty by 2030, and 1 in 4 women will experience moderate or severe food insecurity. That at the current rate of progress, women will spend more hours per day on unpaid care and domestic work due to entrenched gender gaps in power and leadership positions. That only in an equal and enabled Eastern Cape will African women be empowered to take their rightful place in society. However, slow economic growth, which led to a technical recession in the Eastern Cape, is an obstacle for women to attain equality and to break the cycle of poverty. That empowerment of women involves raising the status of women through education, awareness, literacy, and training to equip women to make life-determining decisions and take opportunities to redefine gender roles to allow them the freedom to pursue economic and political leadership. That an integrated and collaborative approach towards economic and political empowerment of women in the Eastern Cape will require an approach to provincial budget allocations with a gender lens, with the aim of skills and entrepreneurship development, climate change adaptation, especially for women in the agricultural sector, for food security, towards the attainment of educational development. Acknowledge this year's theme, Counter in Accelerating Gender Equality Through Economic Empowerment, and also acknowledge the inclusive approach of integrated policy, introducing fuel prices, VAT-free food, infrastructure development, specialized policing units, and no new tax increases to lower the financial burden on households in the Eastern Cape. Therefore resolves, promote United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in policy and legislative reforms in the Eastern Cape to break barriers for the development of women and to build inclusive systems for empowerment of women in all departments and sectors in the Eastern Cape. The Office of the Premier, in collaboration with the Multi-Party Women's Caucus, established an Eastern Cape gender reform policy framework for women empowerment and equality to establish a clear vision and intent for mainstreaming guidelines for the development of services, policies, procedures, and practices based on gender equality, as well as practical and strategic needs of women to ensure women empowerment for the Eastern Cape. I so move.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I put the motion without notice. Thank you. I now move again to Honourable King.
Okay, Speaker, I hereby move in terms of Rule 1311 of the sub-rules that this House...
Just hold on. There seems to be quite excitement from the men on my right-hand side. I'm not quite sure.
We are women, we are progressing.
Yeah, I'm
Leadership.
not quite sure why the men got excited on this side. Over to you, Honourable King.
Okay. I hereby move in terms of Rule 131, subsection 1 of the sub-rules that this House, noting that the Eastern Cape Human Settlements vision is an integrated, sustainable human settlement with improved quality of household lives for residents in the Eastern Cape. That the apartheid spatial planning is still prevalent in the Eastern Cape, more especially so in the rural areas. That the Eastern Cape Department of Human Settlements have a housing backlog of 500,000. That the Eastern Cape Human Settlements Department have only completed 60,159 housing units for the past 5 years. The title deed restoration grant has been underspent by 647 million due to the lack of skilled professional teams to deliver on township establishment, opening of the township register, and the beneficiary verification. That the Eastern Cape Human Settlements Department's ICT infrastructure is not compatible with current technology, and there is no interlinking with relevant departments such as Home Affairs, Department of Social Development, and municipalities to ensure seamless data processing and biometric verification of beneficiaries. The lack of infrastructure development and housing backlogs has resulted in abandonment of beneficiaries in temporary housing structures for more than 15 years, as in the case at Buffalo City, Ward 10, Fynbos temporary housing structures, and the Eugene informal settlements at the Nguma municipality. Further noting that as of January 2024, 29.7 billion has been spent on 462 TRUs in Mdansani, 7.7 million on 147 TRUs in Fynbos, and 9 million rand on 165 TRUs in Duncan Village. The increased corruption and irregular awarding of housing tenders, as in the case in Buffalo City Metropolitan Municipality, is depriving beneficiaries of legal tenure of their houses and keeps vulnerable women and children in perpetual fear of TRU structural collapse or GBV crime. Therefore resolves that the Department of Human Settlements in the Eastern Cape advocate for an upgraded ICT system linked to biometric identification to speed up beneficiary verification and title deed distribution. Commit to SDG 11, sustainable cities and inclusive, safe and resilient human settlements in the Eastern Cape by providing adequate shelter for all, especially vulnerable women and physically challenged individuals, improving human settlements management, promoting sustainable land use, promoting integrated provision of environmental infrastructure, ensuring a sustainable construction industry, and ensuring human resource capacity building for human settlements development. I so move.
Thank you, Honourable Member. We note the motion without notice, and it will be debated at a later stage in accordance with Rule 133, subsection 1. We will now call on Honourable Chocho.
Honourable Speaker, Honourable Speaker, I hereby move a motion without notice in terms of Rule 130 of the Standing Rules of the Eastern Cape Legislature, that this House note the tragic killing of Oye Namakwane, a 16-year-old learner from Victor Poto High School who was shot dead by unknown assailant on the 29th of June 2024. The learner's school is situated in Ward 4, Nyandeni local municipality in Owar Tambo, and accommodates learners from numerous surrounding villages, some of whom must board nearby houses known as Amagxamesi due to the distance between homes and their schools and not enough provision of being made to ensure that there is adequate school transport. This house further notes on that fateful evening, a 16-year-old Oyena received a call from requesting her to go outside only for her to be shot. I further note that to date, no one has been arrested and the killer of this young girl remains unknown and roams the street freely. We further move that this House resolve that call for security agencies to be assigned to this case and arrests to be made speedily, and we can't be as country of government that preside over the killing of our children without no consequences to the perpetrators. We call for the Department of Education to collaborate with the South African Police Services to investigate the extent of crimes against children who live alone in these villages, hostels, and present a plan of how they will safeguard the future of our country from ruthless criminals. We furthermore call on the Department of Education to review the cutting of school transport budget and provide extra support to underperforming high school, which has resulted in the parent taking their children to the faraway schools. Lastly, we extend our condolences to the family, friends, schoolmates, and teachers of Oyena Maqwane and commit to propose as many policies as possible to ensure Oyena's death was not in vain. I so move.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Members, I put the motion without notice. Thank you. Honourable Member, I now call upon Honourable Bodoza.
Enkosi Somlomo, ndivumele ndithi nqanga nenziba zayo. Somlomo webhunga, I hereby move a motion without notice in terms of Rule 130 of the Standing Rules of the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature, that this House notes that the tragic death of a 30-year-old woman who was that this House to note a tragic death of a 30-year-old young woman by the name of Ms. Ntombikai Sede from Port St. John's, who left behind 3 children with their great-grandmother, who later suffered a stroke due to the tragic death of her granddaughter. This young woman was brutally murdered by her boyfriend, and this followed the murdering of her mother by her boyfriend also. The death of Ms. Day has left the family in a very traumatic and helpless state, as they have lost 2 family members in the hands of the men. This House should further note that the killer of her mother was never sentenced. He is a free man roaming around the streets of Port St. John's. This has left the family and the community at large hopeless, helpless, and fear, with no trust in the justice system of this country. Ms. Day and her family were living in a dilapidated roundabout because one of their rooms was destroyed by the so-called leading government party, promising to build an RDP house for the past 3 years. And she waited on this failed promise till her death. It must also be noted by this House that those responsible for service delivery in our people in the outskirts, the rural areas and the man-made rural areas have failed to provide any services. If they do, it is always with delays or hesitation, which has resulted to criminals terrorizing the villagers and remaining free, for they know that there won't be any consequences for their actions. We therefore move that this House resolve that the government must ensure that the family indeed gets the justice they deserve. That this House must make sure that the RDP house that was promised is indeed provided to the family with immediate effect. That this House resolve that the children that are left behind with no one to take care of them are taken care of and they are provided safety and protection. As it has been stated in the Children's Act 38 of 2005 that in all matters, the care, protection, and well-being of a child, the standard, the child's best interest is a paramount importance, and that the relevant departments must take full responsibility in ensuring their care, safety, and protection of these children. Lastly, Somlomo, the House must resolve that no matter what happened to the provision of these children with safety and care, they must not be separated as they've already lost 2 lives in their short-lived lives. I so moved.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Members, I move the motion without notice for adoption. Thank you so much, Honourable Members. That concludes the notices of motions. We will now move over to member statements. I have only received 2 member statements, and that is from the Honourable Chief Whip, Honourable Makashela, and Honourable Odendaal. I will now proceed. Honourable Makashela, you have 3 minutes only. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Already acting Premier. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The report by the Eastern Cape Socio-Economic Consultative Council that the provincial economy has contracted for 3 consecutive quarters came as a bit of a shock and a wake-up call to many of us. We note the largest contributors in this decline in the form of manufacturing and mining industries. We also note the underlying causes and call on the provincial and national government to move with speed in addressing them. The government has been hard at work in leveraging public procurement for public infrastructure, investment and development. And let me ibalekile document yami. Yeah. No, don't agree the statement. Yeah. Let me just a bit, Honourable Speaker. And now you say Pepe. And now you say Pepe. Yes. Thank you. Hey. And then Balega Wako. Now, let me request that you take the next member statement, Honourable Speaker, whilst I'm still opening. Okay, fine, I'm okay. Yeah. The government has been hard at work in leveraging public procurement for public infrastructure investment and development. We are of the view that this must continue apace with much vigor and agility this time around. Through this, we believe water and energy supply challenges will soon be a thing of the past. The investment campaigns as led by the Office of the Premier mustn't be discouraged by these temporary setbacks, but must forge ahead, focusing on local and foreign investors. This we are saying because we are alive to the fact that no country can achieve economic prosperity on public investment alone in this global economy. SMMEs, township economy, and cooperatives have a cushioning role to play in this turbulent economic environment. We have long called for their continued support, and we are confident that this is a matter that the government is attending to. The development of local suppliers so that they may be able to supply the much-needed goods and services will go a long way in curtailing economic leaks to other provinces. Honourable Speaker, I'm told that an economy like ours in the province resides on the back of the thriving agricultural sector. As the report has indicated, agriculture has been one of the positive contributors to the provincial GDP growth. Based on this observation, we encourage Dr. Dar to accelerate agricultural infrastructure development, focusing on small-scale and emerging farmers. Thank you very much. Apologies for the technology.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Honorable Chief Whip. You are just within your time. Honorable Woodendall, your 3 minutes starts now.
Good morning, Honourable Speaker. Speaker, it has now been nearly 70 days after disastrous floods has devastated Kariga Uitenhage. Sadly, to date, little to no progress has been made in providing assistance to the victims of the disaster. The Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan Municipality has also not made any progress in commencing with any of the reinstatement works. In particular, the following areas of concern needs to be highlighted. NMB seems to be under the impression that they need to wait for the finalization of their disaster funding application and allocation of funds before they can commence with the reinstatement work of the damaged public infrastructure. This notwithstanding the fact that at an emergency meeting of council, the executive mayor received delegated powers to make urgent budget amendments, as well as the fact that the Metro has significantly underspent its conditional grant funding for the financial year 23-24, and thus could easily have made sufficient funds available to start with the reinstatement works. NMB seems to be struggling to reinstate and fix basic services to the community. The community has, for example, regular and extended electricity outages, and there seems to be large-scale sewer spills. Residents from the informal settlements, such as Lapland, who have in some instances lost their entire homes, were promised temporary structures. These residents were already evicted from the community housing facilities where they were housed, whilst the much-promised temporary housing is yet to be allocated. There is significant uncertainty from residents who own formal houses and have suffered significant household damages as to whether they will receive financial support from government. The municipality has created this impression, but it seems as if the situation could have been misrepresented. Notwithstanding commitments made by the Honourable Premier in terms of providing social services to the community in the form of counselling, this has not transpired. Large-scale looting and vandalism is also at the order of the day, and there is not sufficient policing to act as a deterrent in the area. It is my considered opinion that Nelson Mandela Bay administration is in dire need of assistance in managing the crisis. They are clearly struggling to come to terms with the extent of this crisis. We therefore call upon the provincial government through the Honourable MEC for COCTA and specifically the Provincial Disaster Management Centre to step in to assist the Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality in managing the crisis. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honourable Member. Honourable Acting Premier, you've got 10 minutes, or you may allocate to the relevant MEC. Over to you.
No, thanks, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Deputy Speaker, honourable members, on the first one, on the economic recession, the Premier of the province has assembled a multidisciplinary task team that looks into how we revitalize the economy of the province from a retail's point of view, and also look into the issues relating to the proposed packages for industrialization of the province. Because one of the key factors that have been lifted in the EXEC report is on the decline on the construction industry, which is a contrast of the work that we are currently engaged on, and which then begins to talk to how do we either look into the cash flight that might be a crisis in the context of the report from EXEC, because it is quite a bit funny that we can be a construction site but still have a decline on the construction. possible is about ensuring a bit of a focused local economic preferential procurement process, which the Premier is actually is quite a bit seized with it, but in a specialized form. Speaker, we will bring that report at an appropriate time as to, in terms of programs, what is it that we are currently engaged on. I will request the MEC acting for COCTA, MEC Mani, Lucity, to take us on the one on the disaster.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief Whip. Thank you very much. Greetings, Honorable Speaker, and all the members in the session. Yes, Honorable Speaker, admittedly, yes, there is a need for at least a more focus and strengthening in our disaster plans. But what is not true is that there has not been anything done in relation to the disaster in Nelson Mandela. The Premier led a delegation of ministers, including MECs, Human Settlements and COCTA, into that area. The Department of Human Settlement has provided temporary residential units in the area. There has been a delay in the commencement in the rest of the land due to issues of EIA from DEDIT, but there has been work done. Just last week, I know that the municipality, through the Speaker and the MMCs, engaged with the community of Kariga as in connection to the closure of that communal residential centers. So there is that work there. And the fundamental issue, I think, that we need to talk to is really how does the provincial government, in supporting local municipalities, respond to the two issues of disaster, noting their frequency, also noting that those that have been mostly affected were communities that were residing illegally in unsuitable land. And that community really is cooperating with the municipality and with the government department, and hence their relocation now that we're being facilitating. With the support of the National Department of Human Settlements, that program of those TAs is coming along. The issue of, I know there was an issue that was coming on the safety and security element in it, especially in the Kariga community, but the municipality, with the support of COCTA, is on top of that. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable MEC. That concludes the member statements. Honorable members, we will now go over to proceed with the tabling of the policy and budget speeches. May I please remind the MECs of the following. You have all been allocated 20 minutes to table your policy and budget speeches. Please don't get flustered when the presiding officer indicates it's 5 minutes and then 2 minutes again. It's just to give you an indication of how much time it is. But even I was a bit flustered yesterday when the Honorable Chair or Deputy Chair of Chairs told me it's only 2 minutes. So it does happen, but yes, it does happen, even though I was on track for that. We will first start, ask the Secretary to read us, therefore, the first order of the day.
Tabling of vote number 12, Finance and Provincial Expenditure.
Let's call the MEC responsible for Finance and Provincial Expenditure, MEC Mvoko, to present his 24-25 policy speech in terms of Rule 202, subsection 3. Your 20 minutes starts now.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to you. Greetings to the Acting Premier, the Deputy Speaker, members of the Executive Council, honorable members of the Provincial Legislature, the DG, heads of department, all CEOs and of the public entities, traditional and religious leaders, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I have a request, Honorable Speaker, that as much as I appreciate the refurbishments in this house, please bring back that screen that shows you how much time you have, so that I can also see if you are shortchanging me on time. We used to have it here. In our roadmap for the fiscal year 2024-25, the last year of our 2020 to 2025 strategic plan, Provincial Treasury will implement various strategic measures that are contained in the plan to drive effective governance and sustainable management of financial resources for socio-economic development in the province. This strategic blueprint is anchored on 4 critical priorities: fiscal consolidation, supply chain management reforms, infrastructure support, and provincial and municipal governance and accountability. Honorable Speaker, amid constrained fiscal conditions, we remain steadfast in our pursuit of fiscal prudence and consolidation, ensuring that every rand is allocated judiciously and in alignment with our long-term financial goals. Our long-term goals prioritize responsible spending by controlling budgets, managing payroll costs. I'm certain that members of the DA, particularly Honorable Kasim, will always want us to talk about this one of how we manage payroll costs. Realize cost savings and increasing provincial revenue and strengthening intergovernmental fiscal relations within the 3 spheres of government. During these challenging times, saving money is crucial. We will do this by focusing on essential services, improving how we manage finances, and ensuring our spending matches our goals and service delivery needs. Provincial Treasury will continue to implement zero-based budgeting, expenditure reviews, rationalization of public entities, and 30-day payment of service providers to eliminate wasteful spending. The province has been slow in realizing its revenue potential, despite the start of the implementation of the revenue study recommendations. To align with our revenue generation potential, we have set medium-term revenue target of 5.4 billion rand. Honorable members, also as part of our fiscal consolidation, we commit ourselves to supporting departments to improve spending through addressing delays in procurement processes. Measures in place will include streamlining procurement processes and reducing administrative bottlenecks. Similarly, we will continue to support departments to overcome challenges of poor spending on conditional grant funding. One of the challenges in this area, in our view, is the ineffective recovery plans that are being implemented by departments due to limited resources, due to poor planning, and due to and/or lack of expertise. To address this challenge, we'll provide training and technical assistance to improve planning and implementation of recovery plans. Honorable Speaker, medical legal claims continue to pose a significant liquidity risk to our fiscus, but concerted efforts led by the Provincial Treasury, the Eastern Cape Department of Health, and the Office of the Premier are actively mitigating this fiscal challenge through the implementation of a proper comprehensive turnaround strategy for health. The strategy has 5 focus areas: leadership, organizational development and human resources, financial sustainability, clinical and specialized services, facilities and equipment, and lastly, digitization and litigation. Provincial Treasury is also implementing the contract management framework and strategic sourcing across all departments. The Department of Health and Education in particular are being actively supported to implement the contract management framework, strategic sourcing and reviewing contracts for potential cost saving, as well as optimal utilization of inventory. Honorable Speaker, as Provincial Treasury, we recognize the extreme importance of efficient procurement processes, and as such, we remain committed to implementing reforms aimed at streamlining our supply chain management practices. These reforms are geared towards fostering transparency, accountability, and ensuring value for money in all transactions within the Eastern Cape government. Madam Speaker, the provincial government has set itself a target of 60% 60% procurement spend on the Eastern Cape-based suppliers. However, we have not been achieving this target for various reasons. Among others, the prohibition of set-asides and repeal of the preferential procurement regulations of 2017, which made provision for allocation of preference points to designated groups and mandatory subcontracting. The recent signing into law of the public procurement bill by President Cyril Ramaphosa will assist in attaining this target as it makes provision for specific groups and locality. In our view, this fate will change the socio-economic conditions of the Eastern Cape for the better, but I must admit this is a struggle getting departments to spend 60% in a province. It's a struggle. We've been engaging with them for the past 5 years, and I'm hopeful that in this new term, the the executive authority will try and push their procurement units to spend this 60% within the province. The local economic development procurement framework will be reviewed to act to the Act and its regulations once the latter has been promulgated. We know that the LDPF is located at DIT. Hopefully the MEC will speed up in doing that. Moreover, our dedication to advancing economic empowerment is exemplified by the establishment of the government procurement of agricultural products initiative. It's facilitated by Provincial Treasury, DIT, and OTP. This initiative aims to integrate small-scale farmers into mainstream government procurement value chains, particularly for essential needs such as school nutrition, patient food, and food parcels for the needy. Through robust consultation with stakeholders, we are refining our approach to ensure effective implementation and alignment with our social and economic objectives. We're pumping a lot of money into programs by Dr. Dar into small-scale farmers. Why would government not procure from these small-scale farmers? I mean, you have hospitals here, the MEC for Health should ensure that we procure from there. MEC Gade should do the same when we have hostels and all of that. This is what we are actually encouraging. Our commitment to monitoring procurement plans underscores our dedication to responsible government and prudent management of public resources, thereby contributing to the overall prosperity and well-being of our province. On infrastructure support, we'll also focus on increasing gross capital formation for provincial infrastructure departments, aiming to elevate the percentage of gross capital formation allocated to these vital sectors. Through these initiatives, we aim to bolster our infrastructure landscape, driving progress and prosperity for our citizens. On provincial and municipal governance and accountability, Honorable Speaker, good governance and accountability are integral values of service delivery. Over the past years, we've seen a positive trend in the number of provincial departments, public entities, and municipalities obtaining unqualified audit opinions. And we are hoping that when they are released this year, we're not going to see regression. However, our ultimate goal is for all departments and entities in the province to attain unqualified audit opinions without finding. Now, to achieve this, we're implementing measures such as developing and monitoring the implementation of the action plans to address internal control deficiencies and providing monthly feedback reports to municipalities on the credibility of their reports. And our efforts to bolster municipal infrastructure grant spending will persist through a range of interventions. Key in these interventions is assisting municipalities to appoint municipal managers and chief financial officers. These measures and others are aimed at optimizing the use of the municipal infrastructure grant, thereby advancing infrastructure development and service delivery in municipalities across the Eastern Cape. We're also concerned by the late or non-payment of municipal debt by government departments. To address this, we have started engagements with departmental CFOs with a view of finding sustainable solutions. Some departments, including the Department of Education, have made a commitment and they are sticking to it. We appeal to others to follow suit. Yesterday I was phoned by someone who said, the MEC is not here, who said all clinics in Blue Crane were closed yesterday. And I was phoned by someone in a clinic, actually, fortunately, because they know me. And when I phoned the department, they confirmed it. I phoned the mayor and the municipal manager, they confirmed it. And when the department was pressurized, it paid on the same day. It can't work like that. Departments, I know there are a number of challenges in terms of the invoices, but the time it is taken to resolve that issue by the departments is unacceptable. You receive an invoice now, and when there is pressure, you start challenging that, no, this invoice is inaccurate. It's too late, and that's not acceptable. Honorable Speaker, we are going to strengthen our financial management and support, especially to municipalities that are under financial recovery. We are happy with the progress we are seeing at OR Tambo District Municipality and Walter Sisulu Local Municipality, even though the latter is still battling with revenue collection. The leadership is working hard in trying to improve the situation and is implementing our recommendations. Honorable Speaker, as we sail through this 7th term, let's remember that progress is not merely measured by the distance traveled, but by the quality of the journey. Our duty extends beyond mere governance. It's a commitment to deliver excellence in service to those who rely on us most, the marginalized, the disenfranchised, and the vulnerable. No longer can we afford the luxury of excuses. Accountability must be our North Star, guiding us towards a brighter future for all. So let us hoist our sails and set forth with determination and purpose. For in the face of adversity, it is not the size of the ship that matters, but the strength of our collective will to overcome. I would like to thank the Head of Department, Mr. Machek, and the Treasury team for doing a sterling job for ensuring that our department discharges its responsibilities diligently. The hopes and aspirations of our people rest in your shoulders. I hereby table the annual performance plan, the annual operations plan for the Eastern Cape Provincial Treasury. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable MEC. You did very well. The policy speech and the tabled documents stand referred to the Portfolio Committee, responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. Honorable the Secretary, can you please read the second order of the day?
Tabling of vote number 7, Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.
I call upon the acting MEC, MEC Luciti, to table for the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs their 24-25 policy speech in terms of Rule 202, subsection 3. Over to you, MEC. Your 20 minutes starts now.
Thank you. The Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, the Acting Premier, the MECs, all members of the legislature, our king, queens, and traditional leaders, the chair of the Provincial House and local houses of traditional leaders, our executive mayor and mayors of municipalities, chairperson of SALGA, distinguished guests and all protocol observed. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, it is a privilege to present the 24-25 policy speech. Simultaneously, allow me, Honorable Speaker, to welcome the members of the public who are following these proceedings through various broadcasting channels and social media platforms. We meet a few days after the opening of the 7th Provincial Legislature by the Honorable Premier that was hosted at the Ndabankulu Local Municipality in Alfred Nzo. The Premier, and I want to quote him on this, had this to say. Quote, our success in the next 5 years will depend on our ability to cooperate, collaborate, innovate, and tackle the challenges together, unquote. We meet under a different political context. We never imagined before the 29 May general elections. We meet under the context of the government of national unity, which President Cyril Ramaphosa characterized it as an expression of the will of the people. The new political mule requires a paradigm shift in how we tackle service delivery. Benjamin Franklin, the founding father of the United States of America, the most influential intellectual of his time, and the drafter of the Declaration of Independence that was adopted in 1976, said, I quote, "Change is the only constant in life. Each nation's ability to adapt to the changes will determine its success," unquote. In the context of the GNU, our success as a nation will be determined by how we adapt to the changes that have been brought by the 29 May elections and the government of national unity. Our success will be determined by how we navigate the new political mule. It will be determined by how we negotiate the sharp curves, the hairpin bends as we drive along. This session takes place at the beginning of the Women's Month, Honorable Speaker, and this is a month of reflection on how far we have come as a nation on our journey towards women emancipation, women empowerment, and most importantly, gender equality. The Women's Month memorializes the valiant contribution of women to the cause of humanity through the enduring intervention of women in resisting oppression, cultivating a progressive politics of emancipation that is in the interest of humanity at large. Since 1994, our democracy has registered significant progress in restoring the dignity of women. As we mark the Women's Month, we pay tribute to the women whose contribution to the dismantling of apartheid is monumental. During the past 30 years, the ANC government has promulgated many pieces of legislation whose end goal is to affirm women. Nonetheless, we must admit that women still bear disproportionate burden of the bad trinity of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. Women remain the face of poverty, and to this end, economic empowerment of women is critical for the prosperity of our country. And this month, we want to pay tribute to men and women who have departed the world of the living during the past year. Honorable Speaker, the department's commitment is to build the Eastern Cape we envision, with a focus of enhancing support for municipalities and traditional leadership institutions. To this end, effective local government is vital for delivering services to our communities. A critical issue that needs our attention is the gender-based violence and femicide. The persistence of GBVF against women is unacceptable. As we commemorate 30 years of democracy, we must intensify our efforts to combat GBVF, empower women and children, and work towards a safer society for all. One main concern is the political instability in municipalities, particularly in the coalition municipal councils. The case in point is the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro, which exemplifies lack of service delivery and poor financial management. It is important that we install quality leadership in municipalities while entrenching accountability and consequence management. The department's objectives align with the ANC's apex priorities. Furthermore, to enhance effective intergovernmental relations and the district development model are vital in coordinating support and interventions in local government. Honorable Speaker, a key focus of our administration is the development of capable, ethical, and developmental state. Our commitment is anchored in the good governance, effective leadership, capacity building of all essential for achieving our developmental goals. The department has achieved 3 consecutive clean audit outcomes, and this reflects good financial prudence, and our aim is to transplant the success to improved audit performance in municipalities. We are committed to achieving 98% to 100% of our financial year targets and will monitor performance meticulously. Recent legislation promulgation, such as the Public Service Amendment Bill and the Public Administration Management Amendment Bill, mark a significant step towards professionalizing the public service. And these laws are crucial for enhancing efficiency and serving our citizens better. To strengthen local government capabilities, we will be focusing on enhancing the planning and project implementation, improve monitoring and evaluation tools, attracting, developing, and retaining skilled personnel, advancing e-government and digital services, collaborating with labor, civil society, and businesses on social and economic initiatives, increasing disaster response capacity and funding, support legislative oversight and accountability. We will ensure municipalities meet their obligations to citizens, focusing on road maintenance, waste management, and the delivery of clean water and sanitation. Over and above, we will promote local industrialization, job creation, and economic development, particularly in the townships and villages. Collaboration with the traditional leaders on economic development and land management will be a priority. The President's State of the Nation address highlighted the need for effective service delivery. So we must ensure that municipalities meet governance, financial management, and service delivery requirements. And this includes addressing municipal debt, filling critical posts, and improving alignment with provincial priorities. Current challenges include escalating municipal debt, reconstitution of the traditional councils, filling departmental vacancies, and enhancing infrastructure and disaster management. Addressing these issues require an integrated and comprehensive approach, and they are improving infrastructure maintenance and reducing infrastructure vandalism, enhancing the functionality of water service authorities and providers, strengthening local government through DDM and IGR, promoting professionalism amongst municipal senior management. The department's resilience and adaptability during COVID-19 and natural disasters are commendable. However, addressing infrastructure backlogs remain an albatross, crucial for delivering quality services to the Eastern Cape. To enhance municipal service delivery, we will introduce a comprehensive booklet outlining non-negotiable standards and expectations. This framework will guide municipalities in delivering services to communities, and the key elements of this initiative will include the implementation of a performance management system and robust monitoring and evaluation processes, establishing performance agreements with executive mayors and mayors, addressing declining service provisioning and focusing on essential services such as water sanitation, refuse removal, and infrastructure maintenance. Municipalities must balance maintaining existing infrastructure with expanding access to services. Improving financial sustainability and governance is crucial. Municipalities must utilize government grants effectively, maintain financial reserves, and ensure accountability for service delivery. The non-negotiables integrate the previously initiatives such as CN Zamanje and Operation Back to Basics, which were aimed at creating a unified framework for improved service delivery. We aim to enhance municipal capacity and responsiveness. On the 7th administration, our commitment is to build a capable, ethical, and developmental state. Through strategic initiatives, collaboration, and rigorous standards, we will work towards delivering quality services our communities deserve and advancing the well-being of all citizens in the Eastern Cape. On ward committees and community engagements this year, our focus is to enhance the functionality of ward committees across the province. The establishment of these committees has been instrumental in improving accountability and rebuilding trust within our communities. Notably, 50% of women, 10% of youth, and 10% of people with disabilities have benefited from this initiative. Members of these committees have gained valuable training and stipends, fostering individual and community development. Our focus for the year includes institutionalization of ward operational plans and assessment tools to ensure effective functioning. We have addressed legislature petitions across the districts, including Krisani or Tambo. The Provincial Rapid Response Team has developed a petition management framework to facilitate effective petition response. In addition, municipalities are tasked with establishing the public participation and rapid response committees to address community concerns and prevent protests. And these committees will be established in Sarabatman, Amatole, and Jogabi districts. We will enhance community engagement through outreach programs to promote participatory democracy. The department has supported free and fair elections by establishing the Provincial Election Steering Committee and substructures at districts and local levels. On traditional affairs, Honorable Speaker, in 24-25, we will award 15 bursaries to traditional leaders for studies in public management and law, with a budget allocation of 1.2 million. Newly recognized traditional leaders will undergo a 2-day orientation program, while long-serving leaders will benefit from reorientation. A budget of 5.6 million has been allocated to support kingships, with an additional 1.7 million for the construction of the Amamponde Mise King's Palace. To address delays and financial constraint in the construction of traditional councils, we are developing a strategy that includes engaging additional implementation agents and potentially handling maintenance internally. We aim to facilitate the construction of 5 new traditional councils and the renovation of 2 existing ones, with 2.6 million allocated for the ad hoc maintenance in response to climate change and disaster. We are in the process of publicizing regulations for the reconstitution of the traditional councils and king's councils. We will continue supporting traditional councils through quarterly meetings with a budget of 1.4 million and enhancing operations of local houses of traditionals and concerned leaders, committing 6.4 million for this purpose. The department is committed to safeguarding the customary male initiation practice, a culturally significant but health-risking right. Despite interventions such as age and health assessment, 35 deaths and 252 hospital admissions were reported in the 2023 summer season. An amount of 4.1 million is allocated for the customary male initiation program in 24-25, focusing on reducing injuries and fatalities through coordination and facilitation. The risk-adjusted strategy introduced in April 2023 has led to improvements in the municipal infrastructural grant expenditure. For the first time in history of the province, at the end of the local government financial year, which is June 2024, municipalities had spent their MIG at an average of 98%. Out of the 36 MIG receiving municipalities, 70%, which is comprised of 25 municipalities, had spent 100 of their allocation. While some of the municipalities that had spent less than 100% are still reconciling accruals, and this could further improve the provincial MIG expenditure, the rand value of this expenditure translates to the province having spent 3.3 billion out of the 3.4 allocated in the 23-24 financial year. For the 24-25 financial year, we aim to fully utilize RAS, introduce an infrastructure audit program, and establish an operations and maintenance program. We have allocated 1 million to monitor infrastructure backlog and support municipalities with project planning. An allocation of 231,000 is designated for the improving the rollout of free basic services to indigent households. Special focus will be on managing indigent registers to ensure services are correctly targeted. The department will guide municipalities in complying with SPLUMA requirements and support the development in spatial development frameworks and land use schemes. We are also reviewing the Eastern Cape Provincial Spatial Development Framework and supporting municipalities in aligning their IDPs with national and provincial framework. The department will implement the Small Town Development Framework and support
Honourable
towns such
MEC,
as
you have
Port St.
5
John's
minutes remaining.
and Statter, and thank you, Honourable Speaker. In revitalization of efforts for 24-25, we will focus on developing the master and precinct plans for the Maluti, Cedarville, and Tsolo Qumbu. We continue to support municipalities in developing local economic development strategies and plans, and this includes creating job opportunities through community work programs and EPWP with a target of 36,170 job opportunities. On disaster management and emergency services, Honourable Speaker, climate change impacts such as water scarcity necessitate capacity building for technical officials. We will institutionalize the disaster management program, monitor the implementation of the National Fire Safety and Prevention Strategy, and allocate 9.4 million for disaster management and fire services. We aim to strengthen oversight and ethical government in municipalities, and this includes monitoring risk management systems, supporting councils with training and reviewing performance management system. We have allocated 968,745 for enhancing financial management and governance. Honorable Speaker, the department will focus on professionalizing the local government through capacity building programs for municipal officials and councillors. We will also address labor relations and anti-corruption strategies, training ethics officers and supporting municipalities in managing fraud and risk. We will intensify the coordination amongst government departments to support municipalities and traditional leadership institutions. And this includes implementing the district development model and the IGR Framework Act to strengthen cooperative governance and collaboration. The department will continue to support anti-gender-based violence and femicide campaigns and monitor the GBVF's response programs across municipalities. Women caucuses and GBVF rapid response task teams are actively involved in combating GBVF and supporting victims. Madam Speaker, the proposed budget for 24-25 aims to enhance municipal and traditional leadership functions, address critical community needs, and foster good governance and development across the province. I therefore table this budget annual performance plan and operational plan for 2024-25 to this House. I thank you.
Thank you. The policy speech and the tabled documents stand referred to the Portfolio Committee, responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. I will now ask the Secretary to read the third order of the day.
Tabling of vote number 8, Rural Development and Agrarian Reform.
We call upon the MEC Consiwe for the Department of Rural Development and Agrarian Reform to present a 24-25 policy speech in terms of Rule 202, subsection 3. Over to you, MEC. Your 20 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to you, the Deputy Speaker, the Acting Premier, members of the Executive Council, Chief Whip, leaders of various political parties, honorable members of the legislature, members of the Portfolio Committee, traditional leadership present here, leadership of farmers that are here as they were invited, women, youth, and agriculture and rural development, leaders of religious fraternity, partners in agriculture and rural development, esteemed guests, manene nani manenekazi, mandini bulise ngale ntsasa. Honorable Speaker, as we transition into the 7th administration, we are committed into improving the lives of our people for the best. Our actions will continue to demonstrate our dedication in creating better life for all. As we approach the end of the 6th term of government, we are tasked with outlining clear programs for the 7th administration. We are following the provincial priorities ngoba imeko yozoqoqosho kuphondo ayizinzanga kuthethwa kakhulu ngokulahleka kwemisebenzi kumacandelo ngamacandelo ahlukeneyo. People of this province must not despair though. Let us go back to our inheritance, land. Let us work the land to put our people to work, build the industries for inclusive growth and tackling high cost of living and investing in people. Makusetyenzwe umhlaba. Honorable Speaker, we recognize that the department alone cannot solve the food security issues. Despite having various programs and initiatives, the lack of a unified strategy that has led to a fragmented and less effective approach. Therefore, the Office of the Premier has coordinated government departments and agencies to develop a provincial food and nutrition security plan. We engage all stakeholders in preparation for the launch of the World Food Day in October this year. Somlomo, we are planning to expand household food production in rural and peri-urban areas on a large scale. Sifuna ke kulinywe igadi abantu batye bahluthe kodwa kufuneka besebenzile. The initiative includes establishing small-scale vegetable nurseries to provide high-quality seedlings. The department is collaborating with other departments and DALRA to support about 42,000 households and 30,000 from Siyazondla program and 12,000 from another programs. The upcoming year, we aim to implement 10 spring water projects to support production. Furthermore, the department will launch a pilot program installing 14 tunnels with 3.7 climate smart proxies in the district, in all districts of the province. In his opening of the legislature and parliament, the Honorable Premier said these words, I quote, "Black farmers are not confined to subsistence or primary production level, but rather drive the development of food products for domestic and international markets," close quote. It is for this reason that the department has developed commercialization of the agricultural program, which seeks to support black farmers to participate in the sector value chains. Honorable Speaker, the Premier announced that the National Development has approved agricultural and agro-processing master plan to boost economic growth, inclusivity, and employment in the agricultural sector, marking the second frontier development. Zonke ke izithili zeliphondo zidlala indima enkulu kuphuhliso lwezolimo, ingakumbi kwimveliso efana nombona, inyama, uboya, inhlanzi, iziqhamo, imifuno, ubisi kunye nentsangu. Our strategy for commercializing the 100 farms involves repurposing ECRDA so that it serves as a trade and business aggregator for various commodities. ECRDA will then be empowered to enter into 10-year commercial agreements with all 100 farms to provide holistic support to them and provide them with off-take contracts to supply their produce to ECRDA processors, which are planned to be located in the red hubs and industrial parks such as Queen's Industrial Park, Butterworth, Fort Jackson, and Timbaza. These processors will process primary produce into food and feed products for domestic markets and export markets. Honorable Speaker, putting people to work and building industries for inclusive growth will be driven through aggregation of communal land parcels to commercial units for improved production and agro-processing. The department is therefore committed to support communal farmers to identify, assess potential, conduct free soil test, package development product, and resource plan. We'll partner with other departments so that we do our work in a way so as to put the communal land into production. Honorable Speaker, our irrigation schemes are underutilized due to poor infrastructure, community conflicts, and lack of investments. The department, therefore, through partnership with the Office of the Premier, Treasury, and National Treasury, World Bank, and other groups, are currently developing an infrastructure business plan to revitalize 10 irrigation schemes with estimated amount of 3 billion. Our approach to commercializing the irrigation schemes is to repurpose ECRDA to act as a trade and business aggregator for all the different commodities, such as dairy, vegetable, grain, lucerne in the form of off-take agreements with landowners or producers to create products for both domestic and export. The department established the Eastern Cape Blend and Funding Scheme to provide to finance for black farmers to become commercial farmers. Kufuneka ke i-farmers bazi khona apha endlini ziyimamele kusisekele into endiyithethayo ukuba ke zisuke phaa kula primary nazo zibizwe ngoba zi-commercial farmers. The revolving credit facility is designed to offer operational funding to address financial needs of high value and export-oriented commodities during production cycles. A budget of 4 million has been earmarked for ECRDA to implement this program for the 24-25 financial year as an incentive to attract more black commercial farmers to participate in the export market. Madam Speaker, we will drive farmer-to-farmer mentorship and training, incubation support, and entrepreneurial development. The market access will be our priority through the South African agricultural practices and certification. Deteriorating farm access roads are hindering the progress in terms of what we are doing as the department. Therefore, the department in partnership with the Department of Transport, we are going to improve yellow fleet. In the 24-25 financial year, the department aims to finish about 123 agricultural infrastructure projects, benefiting 1,975 smallholder farmers, creating 553 job opportunities. In this term, we'll partner with the development finance institutions to support black farmers in establishing commercial feedlots through district clusters and feed aggregators to secure commercial scale at both production and processing. We've already commenced with the commercial feedlot program with the Ngushwa Beef Complex, which will consist of commercial feedlot and abattoir. We are dedicated in improving quality of provincial heads and forks through genetic enhancements program that will benefit communal and smallholder farmers. We'll provide support by distributing 143 cattle and 170 goats. Furthermore, we'll assist fencing grazing lands by installing 106 kilometers of fences in establishing 11 stockwater systems. The recent foot and mouth disease outbreak in the Kokama municipalities highlights that there's a need for government to prioritize biosecurity. A robust biosecurity plan will be implemented in the province to protect farmers and the export industry, which suffered a loss during this period. Honorable Speaker, in the 7th administration, the focus is on transforming grain into food and feed products like samp, maize, meal, and various forms of feeds. All farmers supported by the department will enter into legally binding offtake agreements to supply the red herbs. In the 24-25 financial year, about 22,000 hectares will be planted and expected average yield of 4 tons per hectare, producing 90 tons of grain for processing by ECRDA. The department plans to grow poultry industry in the province by increasing oilseed grain production to reduce production costs to provide high quality feed. The department will also help 100 black-owned poultry projects and raise 1.6 million broiler birds and 2 million eggs annually over the same period. The department will coordinate poultry outgrowers and support them to obtain quality fertile eggs and day-old chicks to improve their productivity and competitiveness. The infrastructure, genetic material, and training have significantly increased the wool and mohair production among black, smallholder, and communal producers. The goal is to raise the value of wool and mohair. The department and ECRDA will partner with black citrus producers through a legally binding agreement that includes funding provisions for maintaining orchards, infrastructure, equipment, adoption of technology, and expanding production and exploring new market opportunities in Africa, China, and Middle East. To enhance their competitiveness, the department will consider establishing new pack shed and nurseries, both in Langkloof and Mpofu training centers for local citrus producers. Honorable Speaker, the department through ECRDA facilitated an investment partnership with Medigrow SA to develop domestic and export markets for cannabis in the province. Medigrow SA has secured offtake agreements with United States of America, Canada, and Germany, and which they will purchase hemp commodities from the province of the Eastern Cape for farmers of oil, for extraction of oil extraction, cigarettes production, and other products. This partnership benefits over 130 hemp permit holders, creating 1.5 job opportunities. Medigrow SA has invested over 250 million in the project and plans to invest additional 700 million over the next 5 years, generating over 20,000 jobs. The department will assist farmers in cultivating 1,000 hectares of hemp for this financial year. Honorable Speaker, the province has adopted integrated aquaculture and fisheries strategy for the 2024 and 29. as a guiding framework for the sector. The department focus is on supporting 72 small-scale fishing cooperatives by providing assistance in harvesting and marketing high-value aquatic species like East Coast rock lobster, sea urchin, abalone, and etc., which are in demand in the Asian export market. The collaboration with the DET will be key in supporting small-scale farmers and aquacultural development. So umchato wethu no DET funeka ungathi uyaqina. The department aims to revamp and enhance the capacity of agricultural training institutes. Colleges will equip unemployed graduates with specific skills to enable them to explore opportunities in the sector. In collaboration with Fort Cox Agricultural College, the department has already trained 152 unemployed agricultural graduates in training and facilitation skills. The department is committed to provide farmer training through our colleges with Fort Cox, Tadi, and Mpofu Training Center. Madam Speaker, the agricultural sector is rapidly evolving, and we must adapt to support the new generation of commercially oriented producers. The extension services need to be reorientated to meet the changing demands of the agricultural sector. Therefore, collaboration with industry is essential to maximize the use of available human resources. Honorable Speaker, we are addressing the challenges of climate change by focusing on reducing risks associated with disasters. Our Disaster Risk Management Center located at Doni provides services for risk mitigation. The center offers advisory services on weather, drought, floods, fell fires, and plant and animal disease to farmers. So a total of about 6.5 hectares will be rehabilitated, and a 400 hectare of conservation and agriculture will be implemented. Honorable Speaker, efforts are underway to establish on forestry a timber processing plant in Bizana with a monthly capacity of 20,000 tons, aiming to attract 230 million rand in investment from the government and private sector. The goal
Honorable
is to...
MEC, you have 5 minutes remaining.
The goal is to plant, thank you, Honorable Speaker, 5,000 hectares over a 5-year period. Honorable Speaker, we are committed in creating new opportunities for our rural communities. The department actively involved with stakeholders in the biofuel initiatives, especially in Ngobayetemba local municipality and of Krisani. Additionally, in partnership with Petro SA, its RDA is working to establish Emalahleni Red Hub as a biofuel hub. On Magwa and Majola, the department submitted infrastructure business plan to the budget facility infrastructure to National Treasury, so we are committed to support these two entities. Honorable Speaker, all farmers supported by the department will be required to supply its RDA with their produce at a market price. This approach will then ensure the Red Hub's security of supply to store, package, and process primary produce into food and feed products for commercial scale. Honorable Speaker, I must say we are dedicated as the department to upholding good governance, professionalizing the public service. I wish to thank the team from the department, especially the acting HOD and his team, the entities that are for the department, to say great things are not done by impulse, but by a series of small things brought together. Vincent van Gogh. I hereby table the 24-25 financial year policy speech budget and annual performance plan and the operational plan and ECRTA APP. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable MEC. The policy speech and the table documents stand referred to the Portfolio Committee responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. I will now ask the Secretary to read the fourth order of the day.
Tabling of vote number 9, Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism.
I now call upon the MEC Peters, for the Department of Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism to present a 24-25 policy speech in terms of Rule 202, subsection 3. MEC, Honorable MEC, you have dangerous things that you brought with you there. I'm scared. Perhaps you will explain in your policy speech. I see others are getting excited over that. I'm not quite sure, but your 20 minutes starts now.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Acting Premier, Honorable Chief Whip, and all the honorable members of this august House, the Director General of the province and the heads of department, the CEOs of our public entities, our distinguished guests, and my special guest up there, Manene Nani Manene Kazi Molweni Khuye Moore, Dumelang. Honorable Speaker, the President of the country, His Excellency, Honorable Matamela, in his opening of Parliament address on the 18th of July, he announced that the Government of National Unity has resolved to dedicate the next 5 years to actions that will advance 3 strategic priorities. Firstly, to drive inclusive growth and job creation. Secondly, to reduce poverty and tackle the high cost of living. Thirdly, to build capable, ethical and developmental state. His Excellency went on to say that our experience over the past 30 years has shown that when our economy grows, jobs are created. When our economy contracts, there are no job creation and jobs are lost. As I prepare to present the policy speech, allow me to quote former President Thabo Mvuyelwa-Mbeki, who hails from Mbeuleni ayotsho eNcingwane andambashe siphazamile past esakhe isizwe it's Mbashe local municipality, open quotes. The point we are making is that the general global messages have been communicated about the politics of South Africa, about the economy in general, all these general questions. The rest of the world understands these things and are saying, let us now come to the specific things so that even we as big corporate chiefs from around the world can assist these areas which you have decided are your priority areas, unquote. Chair, Madam Speaker, the global economy is showing signs of stabilization after slow growth since COVID-19 period. The world economy is projected to grow by 3.2% in the near term. Growth in emerging economies is also projected to remain above the developed world rate by a margin of approximately 2.5%. The economic rate in South Africa is expected to increase by 1.3% in 2024 and 1.6% in 2026. Climate change, geopolitical dynamics, among others, are expected to impact growth in many regions of the world, especially sub-Saharan Africa. To make matters worse, extreme weather conditions, global supply chains disruptions, sharp rises in commodity and food prices, tight fiscal environment, high international rates, high crime levels, and limited energy contributed to the decline. Honorable Speaker, in terms of employment, the official unemployment rate in the Eastern Cape increased by 0.5 percentage point, as from 41.9% in Q3 of 2023 to 42.4% in Q1 of 2024. The largest decline occurred in the construction industry, which saw 23,000 jobs being shared. And on the other hand, the finance, real estate, and business services industry recorded the largest increase in jobs, up by 31,000 jobs in the first quarter of 2024. Honorable Speaker, our trade has been faring well over the last 3 years with an increase of 4.3 billion trade surplus recorded in 2023 compared to 2022. So the changing global technology landscape in the automotive sector, where the internal combustion engine, motors, petrol, diesel, zizawuphela, will gradually be replaced by new energy vehicles, will have an impact on the Eastern Cape. But we are ready as the province, as we have the strategy for that. Honorable Speaker, challenges in manufacturing sector are evident in last months. As we all know, what Mercedes-Benz pronounced. But as the province, we are coming up with plans to make sure that we do not feel
the decision of Mercedes-Benz. So in growing the sector, the East London IDZ has 2 projects at advanced stages which could see the growth of commercial vehicles assembly in the zone and further create 1,500 employment opportunities in the next 24 months. With regards to the digital economy, Eastern Cape economy will have to start integrating itself into transitioning towards global digital platforms. Also, Chair, on tourism, while the overall number of international tourist arrivals in the Eastern Cape remains below the pre-pandemic peak of 2019, there was an 11.9% increase in Q1 of 2024 compared to the same period in the previous year. The domestic travel across South Africa slumped to 8.5 million trips. On agriculture, forestry and fisheries, increased GDP in the most by 12.8% in the first quarter. This presents opportunities for more concerted efforts and synergies to realize more growth and job creation. Coming to the sustainable energy, Chair, as the Honourable Speaker, over the past year, the province has seen 3 wind farm projects move to full construction phase. These will add 293 megawatts to the grid in 2024 and 2025 at an investment value of 6.1 billion. During the construction phase, the projects will have created an additional 2,000 job opportunities. This wind farm will bring the total installed wind and solar farms to 1,802 megawatts. For the first time, the Eastern Cape province will be producing more electricity than it consumes during times of wind and sun. We are truly on our journey of decarbonization. In his opening of Parliament address, His Excellency the State President said that over the next 5 years, we will seize the enormous opportunity of renewable energy for inclusive growth. South Africa has some of the best solar and wind resources in the world. Indeed, the Eastern Cape is one of the prime provinces of wind energy. Over the next year, we will undertake institutional coordination processes to ensure that 3 additional wind farm projects totaling 547 megawatts at an investment value of 13.7 billion enter their full construction phase. While these near-term energy projects are encouraging, in the longer term, our massive energy development potential will rely on the expansion of transmission grid, and we are talking to Department of Energy. We also need to ensure that energy infrastructure investment result in industrialization and local value chain opportunities. We are therefore pleased to know that Nordex Energy South Africa will locally manufacture concrete tower sections in Humansdorp in the Eastern Cape. The construction of the plant is already underway, stimulating the local economy and fostering growth in local supply chain through increased demand for raw material and related goods and services, in turn benefiting local businesses and suppliers. The factory will create approximately 200 jobs during construction and employ around 350 people once manufacturing begins. On manufacturing value chain, our province rely on secure, cheaper and carbon energy. Our SCZs are responding to this need. Both Kucha and East London IDZ have completed energy master plans yielding early results such as solar rooftop solutions. Kucha has secured approval for a groundbreaking special purpose vehicle, which will allow the SCZ to secure finance for additional solar installation. East London IDZ has approved 4 renewable energy investment for further developments. Once they have completed their regulatory and technical processes, they will create investments to the value of 2.4 billion, unlocking approximately 700 jobs. Green hydrogen represents a massive new opportunity under the global sustainability transition, and the Eastern Cape province is well placed to play a strong role in this sector. We have all the key factors in place: excellent wind, solar resources, 2 SCZ linked to ports, and robust supporting infrastructure. Honourable Speaker, on automotive industry, This year marks 100 years of the automotive sector in the Eastern Cape, with Ford South Africa having opened its plant in Gqeberha in 1924. The sector is one of the major investors and job creators in our province. Together with its component suppliers network, it is estimated that more than 60,000 jobs are created and maintained by the sector in our province. Also, within the value chain of the automotive sector is a network of component suppliers who are in their own account to about 40,000 jobs within our province. They are the hardest hit by the challenges mentioned above, and they do require our support. So we will work together with NACAM as the province. Speaker, I'm happy to report that we have recently completed a provincial electric vehicle strategy that is a roadmap for creating and enabling infrastructure within the province for manufacturing of electric vehicles and mobility within this strategy. On manufacturing, Honorable Speaker, light manufacturing, in addition to privately owned factories, is happening in the 5 industrial parks. That is Dimbaza, Fort Jackson, Tata, Butterworth, and Komani. A total of 5,469 people is employed in our industrial parks, and this number stands to increase when the upgrades underway at Dimbaza are concluded. Since 2019, government has invested 596 million for infrastructure upgrades at the various industrial parks to make them more attractive. And also, Chair, we are about to complete Vulindlela, Mthatha, and Butterworth and Fort Jackson, the master plans of the two of all those industrial parks, and we are looking to secure a total of 10 investors to the value of approximately 79.7 million. Work is continuing for phase 2 in Dimbaza. Also, we are saying, as the Department of Public Works and ECDC need to work together because they have a property value of 12 billion in the province. So this property portfolio need to unlock commercial potential of Eastern Cape state-owned assets for transforming the sector. And also the department has over the years supported the Manufacturing Support Center, a platform that allows distressed businesses to log cases for intervention to prevent industrial job losses in the province. A total of 396 companies has since been supported with financial amount of 91.2 million and non-financial support, and that we managed to secure 10,743 jobs. We are targeting to support black industrialists as the province in various sectors of the economy to benefit from the Black Industrial Program. This is critical for job creation and economic growth. Honorable Speaker, on SEZ, our pioneer SEZs, East London and Kucha, continue to perform exceptionally well despite the depressed economic environment. In the last financial year, CDC signed 11 new investors with an investment value of 840 million, and East London ITZ signed 4 investors valued at 696 million. Kucha has so far signed major investors such as Medico, that was mentioned here by MEC, Dr. Da, Discovery Health expansion, as well as the Kucha Steels expansion within the zone. During that financial year, the 2 SEZ and ECDC created a combined 22,230 operational and construction jobs and trained 5,320 people in various skills required in the economy. Kucha Global Scholars Program, launched in 2021, will celebrate its first 2 candidates that will be completing their STEM Master Studies in Germany in September. Honorable Speaker, East London ITZ, Kucha and ECDC are destined to create investment valued at 1.4 billion in the current financial year. Furthermore, Kucha is in the process of implementing Kucha SEZ Water Security Program at a project cost of 1.7 billion and estimated to create 528 direct and indirect jobs during the construction phase. On investments, Honorable Speaker, the cumulative investment totaling at 191.1 billion, comprising private sector investment of 168.3 billion and public sector investment totaling at 22.8 billion. The automotive and energy sectors have been the greatest beneficiaries of investment in the past 5 years. Investment in the green
MEC,
economy.
you have 5 minutes remaining.
Investment in the green economy is gaining momentum. A privately owned green solutions company, Hive Energy, is investing 105 billion to produce green ammonia in Kucha SZ to help move the needle on addressing a port program that we are having. We are going to intensify it in this financial year, where we have supported also 128 enterprises to date at a value of 12.6 million, creating 829 jobs, and we will be working with small business. Under the business regulations, we have 2 entities, East London, Eastern Cape Liquor Board and Eastern Cape Gambling Board. And the Gambling Board in this financial year will collect 209 million against what they've collected in the last financial year, 184. And the Liquor Board will also come with a revenue for this financial year of 21.5 million and 70 million in licensing fees during the MTF, and also 401 illegal traders were identified in the previous year, and we are working with the department, Honorable Ngata, and we have fined people 474,000. And on tourism, we are also going to focus on the rural tourism entrepreneurs. We are targeting 150 of them. On creative and cultural industries, Speaker, as this sector is emerging in our province, in this financial year, we are budgeting 12 million that has been set aside to support 10 productions. The Film Fund is projected to attract 120 million and create 2,100 temporary jobs and support 250 MSMMEs. We'll also support the film producers to leverage additional funding from DTIC. On agro-processing, Chair, the 2 SEZ have been active in courting agro-processing investors to their zones. One such investor is that of San Miguel, with an investment of 490 million to establish a biofiber hub within the Kucha SEZ with an investment exceeding 1 billion. It is projected to create up to 20,000 jobs. Speaker, before ndihlale phansi, ininzi nayifunda phaa kwezanto nizinikweyo. I've got 4 special guests, Speaker, here. Our special guests, one is Jody Philip and her mother, Mary Philip. Bona benza app. They can stand up, I believe. Sala. They are creating an app. They've got an app. They are saying they are disrupting the waste sector by taking recycling and waste digitally. They are bridging the gap between waste consumers and waste collectors across the entire waste ecosystem. Ujodin, Friday, we were in Nelson Mandela University. There was a program there, ANZY, Young African Entrepreneur Initiative. 5 of them won there, and they are going to contest nationally. So she was number 1. She's one of the people that are going to contest and represent South Africa. And the second one, Yimayime Winery, Ilape Shailo, one of the irrigation schemes, is supported by this government. Mabapakame ba Mayime Winery, Elape Sada. And also, the third one is Ushila Shanjwa, Gwase Steak Spread, Abanga Balapa Krisan. Gwase Steak Spread, Kotwa Ngukulape Matol, Guela Tita Wines.
Oh, this one.
Yes. Then the last one, but not least, Go Apiwe Musani Mawela, ngowalapha eGcuwa, a qualified brewmaster, black female, a first black female to own a craft brewery in South Africa. She's a Brewster Academy, Brewster Academy, utrainer abantu on development within the beverage industry. Uyi-founder yetolokazi and craft beer cider. And you are saying as the seventh administration speaker, i-grape iphume Eastern Cape, ayiziyodidiyelwa e-Western Cape ngabantu balapha. Sizayididiyela apha e-Eastern Cape, iphume izibhotile iyothengiselwa amanye amazwe. Nansi le yasesada. Nansi isayida zikatolokazi. Nansi ekalathitha. Ilapha kuzishiyela wena ke somlomo ezi. I hereby, Chair, Utu Tat Mandela, before I table these things, Utu must use time creatively and forever realize that time is always right to do right. And that is what we're going to do in the seventh administration. I hereby table the APP and OP of the Department of Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism, and also of the entities ECDC, East London IDZ, Kucha, Eastern Cape, ECPTA, and Eastern Cape Liquor Board and Eastern Cape Gambling Board. I thank you. Nonke ke nifumene ibhotile ze wine yalapha eMpuma Kapa, ye grape yalapha.
Thank you so much, MEC. No wonder everybody was so excited. The policy speech and the table documents stand referred to the portfolio committee responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. And I will dutifully declare whatever is in that box. Thank you so much. And well done to the females that is continuously making us proud in the Eastern Cape. Malibongwe. We will now move over. I hope MEC Transport will also give some excitement. I don't see any excitement in front. There must be, you need to follow up. A benchmark has been set. All those who will be coming, surely it has now been set. We can't do anything else. MEC that must still come. Let me ask the Secretary to read the fifth order of the day.
Tabling of vote number 10, transport.
I call upon the MEC Ngata, responsible for the Department of Transport, to present his 24-25 policy speech in terms of Rule 202, subsection 3. Thank you so much. Over to you, MEC. Your 20 minutes starts now.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Acting Premier, members of the Provincial Executive Council, honorable members, the HOD of the department and the entire management of our department and other HODs and the DG, the Provincial Commissioner and the Deputy Provincial Commissioner and the head of the Metro Police, Nelson Mandela, Commissioner Moses, transport stakeholders, invited guests, and members of the media, good day. The Eastern Cape Department of Transport presents its 2024-2025 policy speech, Budget Vote 10, making the first engagement under the newly mandated 7th administration. The department has been instrumental in driving economic development programs addressing or contributing in addressing unemployment and inequality. As the department enters the 7th administration, it pledges to create a better life for all and invest heavily in transport infrastructure, including road upgrades, resales, and rehabilitation. Honorable Speaker, the department is inspired by Karl Marx's philosophy that, I quote, "It is not the consciousness of man that determines their being, but on the contrary, their social being that determines their consciousness," close quote. Now that we're on Marxism, Honorable Speaker, at the risk of losing my valuable time, but things that are worth responding to. On Tuesday, during the debate, there was a lousy and lazy assessment of our performance by Honorable Madigizela. It was really a bar so low for one claiming to be a Marxist-Leninist. For Marxists are scientists. They are scientific in approaching society. What we witnessed, because he forgave colonialism, he forgave apartheid for all the challenges of infrastructure, he played the man, not the ball. You even forget to note the progress that has been registered. Marxism, for those who are genuine Marxism, not those who steal the red color, which they do not know what it stands for. Marxism teaching us to study the trends, make conclusions in society, and predict general results. That's what Marxism teaches us. So what we witnessed, really, was a voodoo analysis, a mob sort of excitement, which fell far short from a Marxist-Leninist. And as such, I've been around, and a few blocks. I can see and differentiate between the appearance of politics and the essence of politics. I can see the celebrated increase of 3 members, which failed to differentiate between the increase of quantity and the increase of quality. So it was a bar too low. And as such, if the honorable members, because we are playing the man, were correct to say that all hlobo uqhuba ngalo oqaba nabantu intsongo emehlweni kodwa uzawuqaba abo ufana nabo nothi umuntu wonke abantu bale province bayazi nyani bebenokurhanela uba ukwabo ndokubambele khona azi uba ngendlela umgangatho wakho osezantsi wo-analyzer uba ibinjalo loo nto bendawuqiniseka umane uzotsho isijwili kule ndlu. Back to science, Honorable Chair. The department also acknowledges the progress made by the ANC-led government. No, I'm just moving away now from proto-fascists, because that's what they are. A mob, sort of spirit. The department also acknowledges the progress made by the ANC government in transforming the lives and restoring dignity to the previously disadvantaged. The department has enabled construction and upgrade of roads, bridges, and improved public transport system, and creating thousands of jobs. Some of the highlights in the 23-24 financial year, as we celebrate 30 years of democracy, we acknowledge public concerns about our governance in the department. And part of acknowledging that, Amika Cabral, a Cape Verde agricultural engineer, warned against masking difficulties and claiming easy victories. We must not lie or claim easy victories, but provide an account of our achievements. On transport infrastructure, the department has successfully converted just over 100 kilometers of gravel roads into surface roads from 2020 up to the present, creating 2,381 jobs and improving infrastructure accessibility. The project has also provided access to social and health amenities and tourist attraction areas aiming to stimulate economic development. The department has exceeded its term target, for instance, to maintain 35,728 kilometers of provincial roads. We have exceeded the target, and we have invested 548 million in rural communities, and 44 million was spent on concrete bridges. And the department has secured over the period 90 million, which we used to buy 36 pieces of yellow plant, and only the blind cannot see, which were distributed in some of the municipalities as we strengthen our service delivery model to deal with the state of roads infrastructure in the province. The department has also improved the public transport and enabled residents to access essential services like clinics, hospitals, schools, shopping facilities. On infrastructure delivery, the department is working with the National Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, the Sovereign National Defense Force, to construct well-seasoned bridges in flood-affected and flood-prone areas. And collaboration with Sandral has helped us construct the Billstone and Brebrach interchange, which are currently working. We're also working together on the Kids Beach. I do note the point raised by Honorable Gaylor Tuesday as well. The money that is used by Sandral is the money transferred by the national government, the Department of Transport, to Sandral. On the two projects, the three projects that I'm referring to, on top of that, as a province, we injected money in this current on Billstone, including the one in Kids Beach, working together in partnership with Sandral. All that is government money. For Sandral is a government agency that we work through in delivering these services. So the Eastern Cape, in enhancing roads and bridges, we have created job opportunities and impacted skills. One of the national flagships road infrastructure projects based in the province, the Mega N2 World Coast project, which is progressing well. And other projects are benefiting the province include the upgrade of the route R63 and the improvement of the national road R63 and the upgrade of N2 and creating access through infrastructure. We continue to make inroads in our quest to improve roads infrastructure in the province, and a quest that has not been without some challenges. We have acknowledged that several projects have experienced significant delays. Among those is the Skuleka Nature Reserve project, which we completed phase 1. We are now on phase 2. We had to terminate a contractor there for failure to perform. And we are busy now constructing N2 CP2 hospital upgrade. In the current financial year, the department will focus on reseal and rehabilitation with an estimate total investment of 209 million for a multi-year project. Under the 7th administration, we are committing to look into adding more projects with an estimated investment of 244 million, including phase 3 of Willowville to Dwesa via Msengeni project, and the upgrade of the road to Clarkbury and Stadarem to Tsomo, and the construction of Mtata Airport Fire Station. On transport operations, the department has subsidized bus operations in providing 742 million in subsidies through Africa's Best 350, Algoa Bus, and Maibuye Transport Corporation. They have also adopted a recapitalization strategy that is for Maibuye, prioritizing 5 million to refund 2 new more buses to add into their stock. The department has intervened in the taxi violence, enabling a taxi mediation task team and engaging taxi industry leaders to bring about lasting peace. We also convened a colloquium which produced a document with small contractors, with the taxi industry, which has been developed to include non-subsidized operators in the mainstream economy, addressing the market distortions and improving competitiveness and promoting rule of law, commuter safety, and excellence. The demand for the scholar transport service continues to exceed the government's current capacity. However, it is worth noting that the department is currently providing this all-important service to 70% of the learners in the Eastern Cape who require this service, which means there is a 30% need which is not being catered for. In the context of what Honorable Mboko was talking about, of fiscal consolidation, given the current financial environment. So the department on provisioning of integrated public transport services, the department is working on new subsidy policy to influence the funding model for industry players. It will support Santaco and the small bus operators for smooth public transport operators in the province. For we note that the current funding model in terms of grants need to be distributed equitably, because for now it's only those white-owned bus companies that benefit in the grant, not the taxi industry, not the small bus-owned operators. So that's why we're engaging in transforming that policy. And the draft policy is already in place under the leadership of the National Department. The department is reviving and resourcing transport forums to be fully operational, so that we've got transport forums in the various local municipalities where challenges facing transport industry are discussed, even the increase in fares, even difficulties that communities have, so that at that level, there's a level of accountability. The province will revitalize the provincial airports with service level agreement with Petro SA for the jet fuel for Umtata. That has been signed already, which will help also those who own private jets. Maibuye Transport Corporation is urged to improve services and facelift facilities. And the 8 million which has been used to facelift and upgrade during the 2023 financial year. And the upgrade was on their own garages, workshops, and their own building in Wilsonia. And the department on revitalization of rail services and infrastructure, the Department of Transport and municipalities will prioritize strategies and funding for a shift from road to rail, which is critical given the challenges of our road infrastructure. And therefore, we are coordinating as a department the revitalization or the revival of the Amabele branch lane to Umtata and the Blaney branch lane to Cookhouse. We are reviving that. And the Department of Transport has trained moderators and assessors and traffic field officers and the traffic officials to establish a traffic college. Work has been done already in that regard.
Honorable MEC, you have 5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, no, it was worth it, you know. It was worth it. It was worth it. You know, as I finalize, maybe I must go back to this. You know, when you deal with the primer stove, like, in the Mbonchwayo by primer stove, imani yobrikwa somewhere. So a primer stove, so no itlelele indaba zayo. Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, no opportunists and populists will blind us. For revolutionaries, we know them by their actions, not by their color. The department has awarded 124 bursary holders, Honorable Speaker. Let me just conclude by saying the document presents a reflection of the Eastern Cape Department's transport state, its successes and shortcomings, and plans to mitigate these challenges against available budget. It is acknowledging the contribution of dozens of officials, but also acknowledges the loss of some of the colleagues. We also use this opportunity during this Women's Month to pay tribute to women who passed on duty in the department, including Sonika Smith, including Matolweni Makaba, and including Usisanda. Including Sisanda or Solekana. And we're going to be using this term, this financial year, to honor these women. The department is considering the renaming of the Kengelbos police traffic station, and we're also using this document to express dismay at the continuous violent and destructive protest targeting government and road infrastructure, particularly the one that took place in Mbizana. The department calls on stakeholders and social partners to protect and guard against infrastructure vandalism. And the department and police are attending to this criminal behavior of individuals. And this includes the conduct of taxi industry. And we're working together, and we are going to ensure that we fight against lawlessness and people who operate in an unauthorized fashion as law enforcement officers. So 2024-2025 financial year and others
2 minutes
are an
remaining.
opportunity to correct the past wrongs and multiply on the gains that we have achieved. And we're confident that working with our own people will overcome our challenges. Honorable Speaker, let me take this opportunity to table the policy speech, the performance plan, and the operational plan of the Department of Transport. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable MEC. The policy speech and the table documents stand referred to the Portfolio Committee responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. I will now ask the Secretary to read the sixth, honorable members, I will ask the Secretary to read the sixth order of the day. I'll call upon the MEC Lusiti, responsible for the Department of Human Settlements, to present a 2024-25 policy speech in terms of Rule 202, subsection 3, and I will also call upon the Deputy Speaker of the Legislature to preside further on. Thank you. 20 minutes starts now, Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And the Acting Premier, the members of the Provincial Legislature, the leadership of our traditional leaders, religious leaders, the HODs, honorable guests, and everyone that's present here today. Honorable Speaker, I greet this House again, in this instance here to deliver the 2024-25 budget and policy speech for the Department of Human Settlement. This speech is tabled as we conclude the MTSF and the 3 decades of a democratic dispensation, and of course, transitioning to the 7th term of democratic governance. Emerging from the national and the provincial elections, the people have made their voice heard through their votes. Their message is clearly pronounced that they want the transformation of their socio-economic conditions. The people have entrusted us once more with the mandate to lead, to serve, and to deliver on the promises of a better life for all. They have made a clarion call for the improved human settlements, job creation, efficient service delivery, and socio-economic transformation. It is our duty to act with determination and integrity to meet these expectations. This policy speech does not only provide an account of the single financial year, it details the MTSF progress carried out by the governance leadership of the African National Congress and provide a succinct plan for the 7th term of administration. The story of the 3 decades democratic government of the people is that of fundamental transformation of the lives of the people for the better, restoring their dignity that was trampled upon for more than 300 years of colonial oppression and apartheid tyranny. It is best articulated in the words of our first president, Dr. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, when he said, quote, "After climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb," close quote. Over the 30 years of democratic dispensation, there has been great progress made in delivering decent shelter to the people. And this achievement was affirmed by the President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Cyril Ramaphosa, in the February 2024 State of the Nation address. Quote, "One of the most visible, impactful, and meaningful achievements in the first 3 decades of freedom has been in providing homes to the people. Today, nearly 9 out of every 10 households live in a formal dwelling. Where there were once shacks and mud houses, there are now homes of brick and mortar," close quote. However, despite substantial government-led investment, the demand for shelter and sustainable integrated human settlement continues to grow due to the urban migration of economic opportunities, adverse climatic conditions, and a growing population. This reality suggests that the department must be strategic in conceptualizing and consolidating government efforts to develop integrated human settlements that continue to contribute to changing the landscape of the Eastern Cape, serving the most vulnerable of our communities and creating economic opportunities. It necessitates that we should be guided by a combination of conceptual clarity and strategic consistency in delivering to the aspirations enshrined in the Freedom Charter, the National Development Plan, and the Provincial Development Plan. Honorable Deputy Speaker, it is in this context that the department convened the first of its kind Eastern Cape Human Settlements in Daba in partnership with the Nelson Mandela University. The Eastern Cape Human Settlements in Daba that was held in 2023 represented a strategic platform for critical dialogue, thinking on the state of human settlements in our province, and shared the diverse views of our sectoral partners on conceptualization of the integrated human settlements in the province. In responding to ongoing challenges in the departmental performance, we conducted a one-on-one performance reviews of all our programs and convened a preliminary strategic planning session. And in these, the department assessed its performance and defined strategic intervention areas that informed the direction of the departmental strategic planning. A root cause analysis exercise was undertaken to identify the underlying reasons of poor performance. Honorable members, we are today providing the detailed account of the work done in executing the priorities of the department. Policy shifts over the past 2 decades have moved from merely building houses to creating sustainable communities and settlements. The aim is to strategically integrate housing within its socio-economic context to foster broader participation in society and the economy. These are efforts to achieve inclusive development and leaving no one behind as guided by the principles such as those outlined in the Freedom Charter, the Provincial Development Plan, the National Development Plan, and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and is guided by the strategic trust of the 2024 opening of the Provincial Legislature address delivered by the Honorable Premier. Eastern Cape's time to thrive is now. Secure and decent shelter not only restores dignity, but it also gives households a catalyst for economic emancipation and sustainable livelihood. As a result, the department has in the 23-24 financial year developed a policy on the allocation of housing opportunities to the destitute persons and other vulnerable groups in the province. Integrated sustainable human settlements must be able to impact the socio-economic conditions of our communities, and in the MTSF, the department has delivered 32,854 BNG housing opportunities and 27,309 service sites. The department has in the 23-24 financial year delivered 5,571 service sites and 3,850 rural, 1,721 urban houses. Further, the department has 6,736 completions with a further 4,823 housing units at various stages of constructions to shelter the most destitute. In accelerating the delivery of housings to military veterans, the department has finalized the policy on the implementation of housing assistance for military veterans. This followed an extensive consultation of all stakeholders and will assist in defining future interventions and unlocking current challenges during the implementation. The policy will assist the drive to accelerate delivery of housing opportunities for our military veterans in the 7th administration. The department will lobby support through the DDM to consolidate various grants intervention and unlock human settlements bulk infrastructure challenges. It is encouraging to note Joe Gabi District Municipality is unlocking the bulk challenges in the Alwal North 3000 project. Furthermore, the department will utilize ISUPG to unlock Alwal North 550, which will release land for BNG housing and upgrading of informal settlements. Honorable Deputy Speaker, it must be noted that the National Department has taken over the Emergency Assistance Program. However, the province continues to provide support to communities that have been hit by disasters, working closely with the National Department of Human Settlements. In 23-24 financial year, 1,970 temporary shelters were provided to homeless beneficiaries. As part of our progressive response to disaster, the department has further delivered a permanent solution to 666 households that were previously affected by disaster. Honorable Deputy Speaker, as we celebrate our achievements, we also recognize the ongoing work we must still do to ensure that projects that were previously blocked are unblocked. Some of these projects were blocked because of poor performance of contractors, unavailability of bulk infrastructure, and social challenges during implementation. Out of the 87 blocked projects at the end of 23-24 financial year, the department managed to unblock 71 projects that are to be implemented over multi-years. Ngalendlela ke siqinisekisa ukuba sibuyisa isidima kumakhaya ashiywa neendonga ezingagqitywanga ukuze bonke abantu abathe bathenjiswa ngobonelelo lwezindlu bazifumane izindlu zabo, and this affects about 12,759 households. Honorable members, the department has increased its capacity for conveyancing to address the pre-conveyancing activities that have been a challenge for the program through the appointment of the panel of 26 conveyancers. The framework agreement of PSPs will assist the program in addressing town planning, land assembly issues in all municipalities. In the current MTSF, we have been able to register 11,093 title deeds in all categories. On increasing the empowerment opportunities for our micro, small, and medium enterprises, the department has created 455 empowerment opportunities through training for the MSMEs in the MTSF and 85 opportunities in the 23-24 financial year. This we did with a collaboration with the NHBRC and CEDA. Our Youth Brigade program continues to capacitate young people with knowledge and skills within the construction sector, delivering 904 opportunities in the MTSF, 111 women and 39 men in the 23-24 financial year benefited. Through the Artisan Development Program, the department has been able to reach 21 young people in the 23-24 financial year. Our EPWP program, the department has created 35,428 work opportunities. In the 23-24 financial year, 639 work opportunities have been created. This benefited 486 women, but 1,430 young women, 2,147 male youth, and 1,576 males. Furthermore, the department has exceeded the 40% set-aside target for designated groups and awarded 69% of its HSDG construction budget, translating to the value of 1.1 billion to women and young contractors. This enables these contractors to effectively participate in the market and grow in the industry. Honorable members, through the internship and learnerships that run over 12 to 24 months, a further 370 opportunities for young people were created in the MTSF, which benefited 123 males and 247 females. We would not have achieved this without the collaboration with institutions of higher learning, the Office of the Premier, the Provincial Treasury, and our SETAs, who have funded some of these opportunities. On upgrading of informal settlements, Honorable Speaker, and the provisioning of social and economic amenities. Over the last year, the department has committed to upgrading 160 informal settlements in the various municipalities of our province, and to this end, we are happy to report that 29 informal settlements have progressed to phase 3, where they will be provided with permanent infrastructure for water supply and reticulation, paved roads, and permanent sanitation infrastructure. There are 86 informal settlements at phase 2, which entails the provisioning of interim services, and 45 are at phase 1. Honorable members, as a department, we have seen the OR Tambo region leading in piloting various technologies in building and sanitation technologies, with 141 housing units in King Sabate, Dalingebo, and Port St. John's in the past financial year. Further, Honorable Speaker, the department has hosted its maiden human settlements in Daba in the 23-24 financial year, which was attended by over 300 participants from the various stakeholders in the sector. And the objective of this in Daba was to create a platform for constructive engagement on departmental priorities, gaps, and potential solutions to the challenges of the sector through partnerships and collaboration. Honorable Speaker, the importance of sharing information and powering communities is at the center of a developmental state, and this must include the capacitation of project life cycle and in the policies of the department. It is the responsibility of the department to ensure that communities are consulted, involved, participate, and take ownership of human settlements development in their areas. In line with the resolution of the Indaba, the department has developed a social facilitation strategy to guide, implement, and monitor social facilitation activities in human settlements projects. And this will ensure that community involvement becomes key from project planning to execution to mitigate any social issues that may hinder the success of human settlements projects. In the past financial year, the social facilitation program has been able to reach 5,983 housing beneficiaries through consumer education and supported 19 functional project steering committees. Honorable members, the Eastern Cape Housing Tribunal is the top 3 best performing tribunals in resolution of cases, with 276 cases resolved in the 23-24 financial year. The reach of the tribunal has been consistently growing and will be reinforced in the coming financial year so that it is reflective of the spatial landscape of our province. The Rental Housing Tribunal continues to resolve disputes between tenants and landlords, and in the MTSF period, 1,876 resolved cases, 1,314, which is 70% of cases, were resolved through mediation. In the 24-25 financial year, Honorable Deputy Speaker, as we commence with the 7th term of administration, we will implement the following broad policy priorities of our
Honorable
government.
MC, you are left with 5 minutes.
Unjani, nawe usafika? Provision of housing opportunity priorities for the destitute and vulnerable groups, Honorable Premier. In the 24-25, Honorable Deputy Speaker, our targets is articulated in our business plan. We're targeting 6,284 BNG housing and 330 units through our first home finance scheme, 40 individual subsidies, 6,624 service sites. The department, again, within its budget constraints, will utilize its budget allocation for rectification, rectifying 1,277 units under the remedial works program across the province. We acknowledge the slow progress, Honorable Deputy Speaker, in the issuance of title deeds, and we are putting measures in place to improve the turnaround time for registration. This includes facilitating transfers of title deeds in urban areas with housing handover. Further, we will facilitate the transfer of land at beneficiary approval level. So, each honorable members, extension level, as we are issuing the house keys, it will be with the title deed. In the Kakadu mixed development 800 and the Boxwood, as we deliver a house, we will deliver a title deed. In the 2024-24 financial year, as a department, we will be registering 8,572 title deeds. In the upgrading of informal settlements, Honorable Deputy Speaker, all informal settlements will complete phase 1. 86 will be upgraded to phase 2 activities. 21 will be fully upgraded with service sites and title deeds. We'll also be revising our upgrading of informal settlement strategy to assist in unblocking the bulk infrastructure challenges that is faced in the various regions where the informal settlements are located, which will also assist other housing development initiatives. We will continue to engage the local government and sector departments to prioritize bulk infrastructure for human settlements development. And then, Honorable Speaker, the department will be developing a policy on micro, small, and medium enterprises development, which will contribute to socio-economic development in the province. The Honourable Deputy Speaker, the EPWP program has entered phase 5 of its implementation, which focuses on youth participation, skills development, and concrete exit strategies for the participants. The department will create 5,000 job opportunities through EPWP, prioritizing youth and young people. Honourable Speaker, following the adoption of the new accreditation framework in 2023, the Buffalo City Metropolitan Municipality has progressed to level 2 accreditation. BCM was the only metro that was at level 1 in South Africa, making this a significant milestone. In 24-25 financial year, the department has prioritized support to 3 municipalities towards level 1 accreditation, that is King Sabatha Dalindyebo, Kocha Local Municipality, Mzimvubu Local Municipality. Honourable Speaker, Honourable Deputy Speaker, as the department in the 24-25 financial year, our rental housing tribunal will resolve 22 rental dispute cases, and currently 14 municipalities have established rental housing information offices, and this will be extended to other municipalities. The Eastern Cape's time to thrive is now. With our social partners, we must strengthen institutional capacity for acceleration of human settlements delivery with our social partners through the human settlements in Ndaba. We lobbied support from all sectors towards the key priorities of government, which include the unlocking of land assembly and bulk infrastructure, MSME development and growth, unlocking local material supply, innovative sustainable building technologies, and mobilizing human settlements investment. Moreover, we have identified key areas of underperformance which require immediate intervention, and the turnaround strategy was developed. And the strategy will focus on the 4 pillars of improving effective leadership, accountability, team spirit, and shared culture of excellence. Good corporate governance, improving our diagnosis of the key challenges, and significantly improving the delivery of human settlements in the province. Honourable members, the union of the Department of Human Settlements and Public Works and Infrastructure could not have come at a better time. As a new ministry, we have identified areas of synergy that will leverage on to find relevant solutions, especially as it relates to MSME development, local material supply, and project packaging. And this intervention facilitates an intergovernmental collaboration that will consider mentorship and incubation of SMMEs and the material supply park concept. Furthermore, the fight against GBVF requires a multi-sectoral approach, and in this regard, the department will collaborate with the Department of Public Works and the Department of Social Development in the provisioning of shelter in the interim housing arrangement of GBVF survivors. And I thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, and I want to formally table the budget and the policy speech, the annual performance plan, and the annual operational plan for the Eastern Cape Department of Human Settlements. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you so much. Thank you, MEC. The policy speech and all table documents stand referred to the portfolio committee responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chief Whip, Acting Premier, and all MECs, honorable members, and distinguished guests, receive my warm greetings. Mandikale ukubulela elithuba uniphelona somlomo lokuba nincedisane nawe ekubhexesheni lenkqubo yanamhlanje. Sizawuqhuba. I will now ask the Secretary to read the 7th order of the day.
Tabling of budget vote 14, sport, recreation, arts and culture.
Thank you. I will now call upon the member of the Executive Council, MEC Ngongo, responsible for sports, recreation, arts and culture, to present her 2024-2025 policy speech in terms of Rule 202, subsection 3.
20 minutes uyibambile mos MEC. Iqala ngoku. Inkosi.
Amagqirha akalazi ixesha. So ndawuthemba wena Somlomo. Sekela Somlomo obekekileyo. Omele inkulu baphathiswa ephondo leMpuma Koloni uMnumzana Gade. Amalungu abekekileyo ebhunga lesigqeba laseMpuma Koloni. Amalungu abekekileyo alendlu yowiso-mthetho. Amalungu oluntu lezo zakuzo. Ababekekileyo osodolophu, ubunkokheli bemveli. Amalungu amaqela ezenkolo, iindwendwe ezibalulekileyo. Amalungu amajelo ezendaba. Manene nani manenekazi. Ndiyacamagusha. Sekela Somlomo obekekileyo, ndenza intetho yomgaqo-nkqubo nje emva kweveki apho bekuwongwa umbhali ophume izandla nomdlali wodumo weqonga uGqirhalwazi John Kani. Uwongwe ngelona wonga likhulu laseBritane elaziwa njenge-Order of the British Empire. Ngohloniphekileyo ke ukumkani Charles wesithathu. Elo wonga le-Order of the British Empire lelona wonga likhulu neliveleleyo lobukumkani bamaBritane. Libuka abantu abenze imisebenzi yetyhulu nabathe ngokukhethekileyo banikeza ngeenkonzo ezingenasiphako, kuquka ezobugcisa. Ukuhlonitshwa kukaGqirhalwazi Kani kuthetha lukhulu ekuzinikeleni kwakhe kushishino loyilo nobugcisa beqonga. Bayambanga ke njengotatomkhulu wesizwe, kodwa thina siliphondo simbanga njengonyana waseGqeberha, iponi yaseNew Brighton. Kwaye sisajonge kwakhona ukuba siphinde sibe kunye naye apha ephondweni xa siza kube sisingathe umnyhadala wencwadi ngenyanga yeDwarha. Ukwandlalwa kwale ntetho yomgaqo-nkqubo kuphawula ngokufanelekileyo ukuphela kwexesha lokulawula kwe-6th Administration elibonelele ngomxholo obanzi wokunika ingxelo ngokuphenywa kwezicwangciso zethu. Ekuqaleni kweli xesha ngonyaka ka-2019 sanikwa igunya elicacileyo lokuqinisekisa ukuba ukukhula okuzinzileyo kwecandelo lezemidlalo nelokuyila kwakunye nokukhuthaza nokugcinwa kwenkcubeko nelifa lemveli loMzantsi Afrika. Inkulu baphathiswa yethu ebekekileyo utata uMabuyane naye uhlabe ikhwelo ukuthi njengesebe lokomeleza umanyano lentsebenziswano yoluntu nokuqinisekisa ukwakhiwa nomanyano lwesizwe. Ivoti yohlahlo lwabiwo yesebe lezemidlalo ulonwabo obugcisa nenkcubeko kulo nyaka iza ngexesha thina njengesizwe sibhiyozela iminyaka engama-30 yedemokhrasi. Lo nyaka ukwaphawula isikhumbuzo seminyaka engama-60 yokubulawa kwintilongo yombindi wasePitoli kukatata uVuyisile Mini, utata uZinakile Mkhaba kwakunye notata uWilson Khayingu. La yayingamalungu amathathu okuqala omkhosi kaKhongolose ukuba abulawe ngurhulumente wocalucalulo ngonyaka ka-1964. Kulo nyaka sikwakhumbula iminyaka eli-190 yokuqala kwemfazwe yenkcaso yesithandathu yokuchasa ekwabizwa ngokuba yimfazwe kaYintsa. Iminyaka engama-205 yedabi lasegazini, kunye nekhulu leminyaka lokuzalwa kukatata uRobert Mangaliso Sobukwe. Ezi ziganeko ziyimbali zisinika ithuba lokubhiyozela ilifa elahlukileyo kunye nelifa lemveli legugu leMpuma Koloni. Sikwabhiyozela ke silisebe iminyaka eli-18 ukususela ekusekweni kwesebe lezemidlalo ulonwabo ubugcisa nenkcubeko apha eMpuma Koloni. Ukusukela ekusekweni kwesebe senze inkqubela ebonakalayo ekusekeni isiseko somanyano loluntu kunye nokwakhiwa koluntu olubandakanyayo kwimidlalo, ulonwabo ubugcisa nenkcubeko. Iinzuzo ezenziwe kwiminyaka engama-30 yedemokhrasi kunye nokusekwa kwesebe ziquka kodwa zingaphelelanga apha uphuhliso loluntu ngemigaqo-nkqubo yedemokhrasi nebandakanyayo kwezemidlalo, ulonwabo ubugcisa kunye neenkcubeko zoluntu lwethu. Ukusebenzisana namanye amasebe namaziko karhulumente sikwazile ukwakha nokuhlaziya iziseko ezingundoqo zoluntu ezifanelekileyo kunye nezinto eziluncedo ukuze kuxhamle uluntu oluhlelelekileyo. Oku sikwenze ngokusebenzisana namanye amasebe karhulumente kunye namaqumrhu karhulumente. Siphumeze iinkqubo zenguqu eziqinisekise ukubandakanywa kwabasetyhini, abantwana, abantu abaphila nenkubazeko kunye nolutsha kwezemidlalo, ulonwabo obugcisa kunye nemisebenzi yenkcubeko. Siseke amaziko edemokrasi athe asinceda ukuba siphumeze uxanduva lwethu lowiso-mthetho kunye nesigunyaziso senguqu njengenxalenye karhulumente kweli khaya lengqwele. Siphinde senza imitsi ebalulekileyo ekuqhubeleni phambili isigunyaziso esingundoqo sesebe sokwakhiwa kwesizwe ukuze kuphunyezwe umanyano loluntu kwisizwe sethu. Ngenene, sekela somlomo, obu bungqina bulapha phezulu bubonisa imitsi ebalulekileyo esiyenzileyo kwaye siyaqinisekisa sizinikela ekuqhubekeni kulo mzila. Sekela somlomo, mandithathe lithuba ukuba ndazise isizwe ngomsebenzi wethu wesebe omalunga noku. Ndiyawuphawula ndisithi ukuphuhliswa nokukhuthazwa koshishino elingemicimbi yoyilo nezenkcubeko. Ekuqaleni kwesi sigaba yokusebenza kwesicwangciso sengcebiso sika-2020-2025 senze isiqinisekiso sotyala kwiimveliso zenkcubeko nezoyilo njengento ebalulekileyo njengomncedisi ekuzinziseni uphuhliso lwempumelelo yephondo. Senze isigqibo sokutshintsha indima yesebe ekubeni ngumboneleli ngamathuba okuqala nawentsusa kwezenkcubeko, ubugcisa nezamagugu namafa, kodwa ngoku ibe ngumbonelelo ngamathuba amakhulu nokuncedisa kumaphulo aqalwe naqhutywa luluntu. Sizinikela ukungqala kubunkokheli nobutshantliziyo ukuqinisekisa ukuba uyilo luyaphuhliswa kwaye luyakhuliswa ngokuphuhliswa kwentsebenziswano eziza kuqinisa ukubonelelwa kweenkqubo zobugcisa, inkcubeko namagugu namafa. Siza kuphinda siqinise ukuzinikela kwethu ukuveza amathuba kumagcisa ethu asekuhlaleni ngokwenza iminyhadala koomasipala abohlukeneyo, ngokwenza njalo sibe sikhulisa uqoqosho lweendawo zethu. Somlomo obekekileyo, sinehlombe ukuchaza ukuba yile nto le esiyenzileyo. Ukuza kuthi ga ngoku isebe lisebenzisene noosomashishini abancinane nabaphakathi, amagcisa noluntu ukwenza la maphulo alandelayo. Iimbasa zonyaka zamagugu namafa ezaziwa njenge-Annual Eastern Cape Provincial Heritage Awards eMonti, umnyhadala womculo kaMasikhandi kwaBhaca, umnyhadala olutsha wobugcisa wesondela kwelaseMaletswayo. Honorable Speaker, our investment in the cultural and creative industries concentrated on the following sectors: the film industry. The department, through its public entity, the Eastern Cape Provincial Arts and Culture Council, ECPEC in short, has been instrumental in fostering the growth of the local film industry. The isiXhosa telenovela drama series, Gqeberha the Empire, is one of the film projects that the department committed to support since the conceptualization and production of season 1. In the last 5 years, we have supported over 36 films with funding. These range from documentaries and short films, including documentaries on legends such as Madosini and Ben Nomoy. The second season brings with it new talent, some seasoned actors, and brand new film studios in Gqeberha, which is one of the best in the country that promise to take production to new heights. We shall, in the current financial year, support initiatives like Siziwe and biographical documentaries such as Living Legend, Pride, Canvas, and Ilifa Lombogo. These documentaries are in the distribution phase, and we are planning to air them on television, just like Gqeberha the Empire. In partnership with Mandela Bay Theatre Complex, we have implemented the 3rd edition of the Music Excellence Acceleration Program of the Eastern Cape, where 8 record labels from the Eastern Cape were supported with 6 well-established ones getting 300,000 each and 2 emerging ones getting 150,000 each. A concerted focus this year will be placed on women, a feminine development in the arts. This is where pockets of excellence around music will be lifted, polished, and marketed for distribution. In the past, artists like Betusile, Msaki, and emerging Maskandi artists like Impondo Elitsha have directly benefited from the program. We plan to inject more funding in support of visual arts, as well as create new platforms for artists to exhibit their crafts at prospective galleries. We also plan to introduce a cultural expo that would create new opportunities and new markets for our artists. Performing and visual arts continues as we follows. However, I will not go deeper on it as you have in your documents. Ndizawudlula nje ndiye kwinkxaso esiyinika ababhali. Njengenxalenye yeenzame zethu eziqhubekayo zokuxhasa ababhali kwiphondo, sibeka izicwangciso zokuqinisekisa ukuba iincwadi ezipapashwa ngababhali bethu zixhaswa nkalo zonke, ukususela kwimibhalo ngqangi ukuya kutsho kwishelufu zeencwadi. Sekela somlomo obekekileyo sijonge ukuxhobisa ababhali bethu ngokubafaka kwiinkqubo zophuphiso ezahlukeneyo, sibaphuhlisa ke ngokokwahluka kwabo. Njengendlela yokunyusa nokuveza ababhali bethu kunyaka-mali ka-2023-24, siye sabamba umboniso wencwadi waseMpuma Koloni owadala iqonga lokuba ababhali bethu banxibelelane nababhali abaphume izandla abanjengonjingalwazi uZakes Mda ononcedile Sawule phakathi kwabanye. IMpuma Koloni ngomthombo esibonelela ngawo eli lizwe ngababhali abadumileyo, kwaye siza kube simisa zonke indawo ukuqinisekisa ukuba sibuyisela eliphondo kuzuko lwalo lwangaphambili. Apha singakhankanya amaqhawe afana noMqhayi oJabavu. Kule nyanga yoomama ndingakhankanya umama uNoni Jabavu, uPhyllis Ntantala, uNontsizi Mgqwetho. Oku kuqinisekisa ukuzibophelela kwethu ekuxhaseni ababhali bethu. Sibhalele kuni ke babhali. Kwiilwimi zethu somlomo, isebe linikwe uxanduva lokukhuthaza ukusetyenziswa kweelwimi ezininzi kweli phondo njengoko likhokhelwa ngumthetho wokusetyenziswa kweelwimi ezisemthethweni eMpuma Koloni ka-2016 kunye nommiselo weelwimi ezisemthethweni eMpuma Koloni owaphunyezwa ngonyaka ka-2020. Ukukhuthaza ukusetyenziswa kweelwimi ezininzi kugxilwe ngokukodwa kwiilwimi zesintu. Akuthethi nje ngolwimi kodwa kuthetha ngokuzazi kwabantu ukuba ngoobani kunye nendlela abahluthwa ngayo ubuni babo yinkqubo yocalucalulo. Ukuze kubuyiselwe isidima esilahlekileyo kufuneka siqale ngolwimi olu lwethu kwakunye nenkcubeko nemvelaphi yethu. Yiyo loo nto siqeqesha abantu abalishumi kwingingqi yaseSarah Baartman naseNelson Mandela Bay ngolwimi iSenama, okululwimi ke lamaKhoi and San. Le nkqubo esisebenzisana nebhodi yolwimi yoMzantsi Afrika iPensalb kunye nesebe lemfundo iza kubona ulwimi lweSenama lusetyenziswa ezikolweni. Somlomo ndiyazingca ukwazisa ukuba ndime apha nje le ntetho ibhalwe ngesiXhosa nangesiNgesi, kwaye loo maxwebhu ayafumaneka kubo bonke abantu abalapha kule ndlu ibalulekileyo. Malungu abekekileyo, kulo nyaka umiyo siza kuthathela ingqalelo nangakumbi ulwimi lwezandla lwaseMzantsi Afrika, nanjengoko umongameli ethe walutyikitya njengolwimi lorhulumendo olusemthethweni. Siza kusingatha amaphulo okwazisa nokufundisa uluntu ngolwimi lwezandla lwaseMzantsi Afrika. Sizimisele ukuqala ngamasebe angakarhulumente kweli phondo lethu. Sisebenzisana neofisi yenkulu baphathiswa ukuqinisekisa ukuba akukho sebe likarhulumente lisilelayo ngokuthi lisingathe imisitho kungekho zitoliki zolwimi.
Mphathiswa obekekileyo ushiyeke nemizuzu emihlanu. Nkosi.
Injani na? Somlomo obekekileyo, idemokrasi yethu yomgaqo-siseko ifuna ukuba sidibane nabantu kungoko singurhulumente wabantu ngabantu, singurhulumente wabantu ngabantu. Inkqubo yokulungiswa nokubekwa emgangathweni kwamagama endawo yiprojekthi yokuphelisa ubukoloniyali efuna ukubhala kwakhona imbali yethu ngokugcina ilifa lethu njengabantu. Ngonyaka ka-2024-25 iidolophu ezisendleleni eza kuba namagama amatsha ziquka iMonti, iAberdeen neColchester ukukhankanya ambalwa. Sinayo nenkqubo sekela somlomo yokuthathwa kwamathambo awayefele kwizizwe ngezizwe ngexesha kulwelwa inkululeko. Sithi ke silisebe kule minyaka idlulileyo urhulumente uye wakhupha wabuyisela ekhaya kwaye wangcwaba amaqhawe amaninzi kunye namaqhawekazi yaseMpuma Koloni aba ngabantu abafa bekhusela umhlaba wethu yaye besilwela inkululeko yethu. Siza kuhlala siyikhumbula indima negalelo likaYiva Voyoyo noZwelibanzi Khwetshube kumzabalazo wenkululeko yethu. Yanga imimoya yabo ke ingahlala ngonaphakade. Isebe eli liza kuqhubeka nokunceda iintsapho zamaxhoba ongquzulwano ukuba ziphile kwaye ekugqibeleni zifumane ukuvalwa kwesisahluko ngokubuyiswa kunye nokungcwatywa kwamathambo wabo ababefele ezizweni babathandayo. Ukusekwa kwamathala eencwadi somlomo ndiyazingca ngokukhankanya ukuba ithala leencwadi loMzantsi Afrika labanobumfama lisaqhubeka nokuba ngumxhamli wenkxaso yemali ezizigidi ezingama-2 eerandi ngonyaka ukuze abantu abakhubazekileyo bakwazi ukufikelela kumathala eencwadi. Phantse onke amathala ethu eencwadi anobuxhakaxhaka bale mihla. This as we are trying to bridge the digital divide, we have also introduced the e-books to give our users options. Andikwazi ukuqukumbela ngeenkonzo zamathala eencwadi ngaphandle kokukhankanya ukonakaliswa okubuhlungu nokuqhubekayo ukuqhekezwa nobusela obuqhubeka bugqugqisa iziseko ezingundoqo zamathala eencwadi. Ndihlaba ikhwelo kuluntu ukuba luqale ukuba ngabanini bezi zibonelelo kwaye luzikhusele ukuze luxhamle izizukulwana zethu ezizayo. As government, we are committed to keeping sport and recreation relevant and viable, while supporting our athletes to develop their physical literacy for active and healthy lifestyles. We will continue to deliver and support community initiatives that are aimed at increasing participation by designing and/or participating in the delivery of inclusive programs and services meant for, but not limited to, the elderly, young people, women, and people living with disabilities. The department, working together with the Eastern Cape Sports Confederation and the various sport federations, will continue to implement the club development program by reshaping and sharpening the sport development growth path through the hosting of local leagues that will culminate into different stages of development. In building provider capacity, the department will develop and implement a volunteer administrator recruitment and retention plan to sustain volunteer administrators in our communities. We will continue to deliver support and resources to assist sports clubs, community hubs, and schools to promote and rebuild a positive sporting culture. Our desire is not necessarily for women's sport to be a carbon copy of men's sport, but for it to be developed in its own unique way, influenced by the different factors and with its different opportunities for growth. What we want to see is women's sport and our fantastic female athletes being given the appropriate support to flourish, inspire, and be respected. Honorable Speaker, the department will support opportunities that initiate sport and recreation pursued in the ocean, river environments. Through the Learn to Swim program, we will concentrate, amongst others, in those areas within the province where our children drown on a daily basis. And indeed, honorable members, Painda Bankulu sesizawuqalisa ngalento ka Learn to Swim. To promote and encourage regular participation in schools, we will pilot school leagues and festivals with the aim to increase activity and sport participation by young people in their local area, in school time and outside, as well as contribute to positive mental well-being and development of character in school. The partnership that the province has with Lower Saxony has continued to bear fruits. 4 young people from the province were sent to Germany for rugby voluntary work coaching. Tennis coaching clinics were conducted by focusing on learners, educators, and existing players, creating the possibility of 2 coaches going to Germany to be exposed to international training techniques.
Thank you.
In this
Thank you,
financial year,
Honorable
the
MEC.
department is sending 2 female rugby players to be based in Hanover in Lower Saxony for a year. Honorable Deputy Speaker, when I want to look at Honorable Deputy Speaker, I am tabling in this House the annual performance plan of the Department of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, operational plan, the annual performance plan of ECPAC, our entity, and their operational plan, and the budget and policy speech, both in Xhosa and in English. I thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. The policy speech and all the table documents stand referred to the portfolio committee responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. I will now ask the secretary to read the 8th order of the day. Thank you.
Tabling of vote number 15, community safety.
Thank you, Secretary. I'll now call upon the member of the Executive Council, MEC Ngata, responsible for the Department of Community Safety, to present his 2024-2025 policy speech in terms of Rule 202, subsection 3. Thank you. Your time starts now, Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honorable Acting Premier, members of the Executive Council, honorable members, traditional leaders present, the HOD of the department and other HODs and managers of the Department of Community Safety, the Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Mene, and the Deputy Commissioner, Provincial Commissioner, Major General Dladla, and other senior management of SAPS that might be here, the Regional Commissioner of SAPS, Tatum Tetwa, Commissioner Mtetwa, and the Regional Manager for IPID, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, and Yakatlela. The Chief of Police at the Metro, and the Chairperson of the Community Police Board, the Chairperson of the Community Policing Forum, safety patrollers, street and village committees, special guests, government officials, distinguished guests, and members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, peace and loving citizens of the Eastern Cape province, a good day to you all. Molweni. We're starting the term, Deputy Speaker. It's important basazan basungoba na kwangoku. Bakhona bantu ucinga uba uyazi akazazi uba akazi akafuni nokwazi. Uyabona ke i-tools of Marxism Leninism zinceda ngento enye ke as we study society yokwazi udistinguisha between an organization and a cult. Ucimba usembuthweni kanti ukwi-cult and awuyazi uba ukwi-cult. Uphinde ukwazi udistinguisha between an organization and a mob spirit. Qhutywa nje mob spirit. And awuyazi uba imob le nto kuyo. Uphinde uqhutywa ivudu, neyala nto yevudu. Voodoo mentality. Into zenziwa ngevudu. Nento nizifunayo aniyazi nento zinokwenzeka nento zokwenzeki nifuna nje yonke into. Again, you can't study the conditions under which conditions you must make certain demands, and how do you make conditions ripe for certain demands. Ngotyala ngesifuba. So silapho ke kuloo nto ndifuna uba isikolo ndisifake kodwa ke ndine-veterans zami ezimbini who might benefit to meet the other one briefly, Omgovo, the other one, Tata Makalima, for many, many years. When talking about individuals, they had different approaches. Omgovo would say about human being, he says a human being can change, but you must never ride faster than the horse you are riding. He calls for patience. Utatu Makalima had a different approach. He said, no, there are individuals who are incorrigible. So it's not worth to pursue them. So I'm still studying whether there is a potential here. Is it worth to invest time, valuable time, to pursue certain projects? Because people, when they don't know anything, they are projects. Turn them to projects. Ipagwikalti, Louis Konzai. The policy speech marks the end of the
Deputy
system.
Speaker. What is that order?
No. 992, Speaker.
Wait. Which rule are you raising on?
It's 92, Speaker. 97 and 92 concurrently. Concurrently. 97 allows the point of order. Then 92 speaks on the use of offensive language. So the terms the speaker is using of cult and all of those things are not necessarily part of the debate that is supposed to be presented here. But also, Deputy Speaker, let's appreciate the decency of the House, or at least taking an order. If we are incorrect, we'll be corrected by you, Deputy Speaker. Not a different behavior that we have seen before. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Member. You may continue, MEC.
Yeah, like prime year, it is. It is an honor and a privilege to deliver this policy speech under these remarkable and unique circumstances. Honorable Chair, the department was reconfigured with an additional mandate to fulfill all expectations, Honorable Deputy Chair, as enshrined in the Civilian Secretariat for Police Act 2 of 2011, Chapter 417, in the provincial strategy. This has placed the department at the heart of communities, focusing on crime and violence prevention strategies. The reconfiguration is in line with the Priority 6 of the Mid-Term Strategic Framework 2019 to 2024 and the National Development Plan, Vision 2030, which envisions a South Africa where people are and feel safe and have no fear of crime. The ruling party also laid a strong emphasis on the creation of conditions of peace and stability, as well as guaranteeing safety and security to the people as one of the central pillars of the national democratic society. Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, the department will continue to oversee the police service in the fight against crime and gender-based violence and femicide. SAPS is expected to implement all recommendations arising from the departmental oversight findings. During 2023-2024 financial year, the department successfully implemented the census project, whereby data was collected from all 199 police stations across the province. The aim of this project was to measure the overall performance of police stations and come up with a report that will detail the comprehensive state of policing in the province. 2024-2025 financial year, SAPS will implement the recommendations from the census project. In the past financial year, the department conducted 126 unannounced visits at various police stations across the province, and 54 police accountability engagement programs with communities, and 70 service delivery complaints were monitored, of which 57 were finalized and 13 are still in progress. And the vigorous oversight to SAPS also includes the monitoring of IPID recommendations against SAPS. As a result, 181 recommendations were received from IPID, of which 115 were negative and 66 were positive recommendations. And positive recommendations refers to SAPS members that did not contravene the Criminal Procedure Act. During the year, the department will monitor the implementation of the National Monitoring Tool and the Domestic Violence Act. And this is to monitor and assess the implementation of recommendations which emanated from the census project. Furthermore, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the department will continue to conduct research for the better utilization of resources and recommendations on policing needs and priorities. We are happy to announce that 1,597 new constables and an additional 563 members will be allocated to specialized units, including stock theft unit, and which will sum up to 2,160 members allocated to the province. On community policing, additional capacity. The department launched the provincial safety strategy under the theme Musa Ukuthula Kusonakala, a theme that resonates well with our communities as we interact with them. It is aligned to the integrated crime and violence prevention strategy, which was adopted by the President in March 2022. The provincial safety strategy is based on 6 pillars. Pillar 1, an effective criminal justice system, early intervention to prevent crime, violence and promote safety. 3, victim support. 4, effective and integrated service delivery for communities and the prevention of crime and violence. And 5, safety through environmental design. And 6, active public and community participations. These are pillars that will continue in line with our strategy to drive the fight against crime. Honorable Chair, Deputy Speaker, the department has facilitated the establishment of community policing forums in all 6 districts, municipalities in Buffalo City and the Metro as well, and the department will establish in Nelson Mandela Bay Metro a community safety forum for proper coordination on safety issues. This is urgent given the fact that these are hotspot areas as it relates to crime. And all municipalities that have established these CSF will be assisted in conducting safety audits and developing community safety plans that will find expression in IDPs. And the department will implement the Communities That Care project at the BCM in collaboration with the state of Lower Saxony. The implementation is already underway. The Germans are here in the province implementing this pilot project. In 2023, the department launched the Community Safety Brigades program with 50 community safety brigades deployed in Biki Policing Precinct and 99 deployed in Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. And these are interventions, and we're beginning to see the impact of them in Biki, but in Nelson Mandela, we have yet to make an impact, even though the role of them is acknowledged by some members of the community. Resources will be coordinated with various partners to expand and institutionalize the Community Safety Brigades program, with 500 brigades targeted for recruitment before the end of this financial year. We're trying not mapanya, we're doing we're trying, but within our constraint. So, with respect to school safety program, 80 safety patrollers have been deployed in the selected schools across the province, and data capturers are benefiting from the safety patrollers project funded through the expanded public works program. The JCPS cluster, led by the department, is responsible for to coordinate all activities relating to the criminal justice system and community safety within the province to strengthen safety and security. The cluster is fully functional, Honorable Deputy Speaker, and this has strengthened reporting through an integrated program of action by all cluster departments. And the cluster has 13 work streams that meet on a regular basis. And these include, among others, the Anti-Gang Steering Committee, the School Safety Committee, the Provincial Road and Freight Committee, the Provincial GBVF Forum, and the Border Port, Land and Air Management. Through effective cooperation of stakeholders in the cluster, there's been an increase in the conviction rate for stock theft and femicide crime and crime relating to non-ferrous metals. The notable successes of this cluster include the following, among others: the conviction rate that has increased in various crime categories, Honorable Deputy Speaker. For effective and efficient service delivery to our communities, the department will ensure that all the cluster departments are represented at Imbizos and accountability sessions. And the department will develop a master plan for 2024-2029 MTSF period to reconfigure and streamline safety and security in the province. And the goal of the master plan is to ensure that the vision of building safer communities and crime prevention is effective and centrally coordinated for maximum impact.
Honorable MEC, you are left with 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes now.
Thank you.
Okay. No, ezinye nzawuza. So long ndiyenzile enye into bendizayilungisa. A number of anti-stock theft campaigns were held across the province, and the aim was to improve the involvement of traditional leaders in policing, of which rural policing have been introduced in almost all the kingdoms. Only one kingdom is outstanding in the province, which is very critical to strengthen our presence in rural areas and policing. And an integrated summit was also convened in December at Matatiela Policing Precinct to address cross-border crimes. The focus was primarily on stock theft between Lesotho and South Africa, and a technical team was established to implement the summit resolution in line with the rural safety strategy. And the task team include, among others, the Border Management Authority, NPA, SAPS, and the local municipality. Honorable Deputy Speaker, as previously stated in the introduction, we'll triple our efforts with the little that we have, which is to do more with less. In doing so, we are convinced that our budget baseline should be increased to allow us to do more responsive to the task and the challenges at hand. This would include the issue of CPF stipend. This is a burning issue, which the province has to provide for it because other provinces are paying CPF stipend, and we don't do that as a province. So we're quite happy with the additional allocation to add another directorate, which we got 16 million from Provincial Treasurer. But we think that this is an area we must visit of strengthening CPF and pay the stipend. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the department will continue these efforts. Let me conclude, Honorable Deputy Speaker, by appreciating the work done by the head of the department, Mr. Mapolisa, and all senior managers and staff of the department. We're ensuring that the department for consecutive years has registered a clean audit, unqualified audit opinion with no matters. And we're committing to build on this work by strengthening our accountability ecosystem as a department and share best practices between community safety and transport as they are under one ministry so that transport can graduate because now there is a movement, but we'll talk about that later on. Let me take this opportunity, Honorable Deputy Speaker, to table the policy speech, the annual performance plan, and the annual operational plan, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. The policy speech and all table documents stand referred to the portfolio committee responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. Honorable members, this brings us to the end of the business of the day. I would like to thank all the honorable members who are still in attendance. Honorable Acting Premier and MECs for preparing all these documents so as to inform us as well as the people of the Eastern Cape at large on where we are and where we are going in terms of the development of our province. Also allow me to thank the guests that have joined us and those that are watching from home in our social media platforms. Have a wonderful weekend, honorable members. Please do go home. Your wives and husbands, as well as children, are waiting for you there. So I hope they are watching so that they know that I have released you officially. The House stands adjourned.
Lunch is served in the dining hall, honorable members.